I think I just started. Okay, I think I started. I think I believe everybody can hear me.
Have we enabled the chat function?
Let's see. I think I did. It'd be great if somebody could write in the chat if you could hear me. That would be great, just to make sure. I don't see anybody writing that in chat. All right.
Yeah, I've seen only currently in this meeting you and me.
Right, but I don't. Oh, somebody said that they could hear us, I think. Wait, hold on. Yeah, somebody just said that they could hear us. Judy said that she could hear us. Can I have another confirmation in the Q&A that you could hear us? That would be great, so we could get started. Oh yeah, now I got tons of people that can hear us. Okay, great, Hamilton. I think we're good.
I don't have access to the chat, David. I don't see it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay, I got it. You can hear me. Thanks. We're just trying to navigate how now Hamilton can see the chat. So I'm imagining, Hamilton, that they can only see me and not you.
Right.
And I can imagine that they could hear you. But why can't you see the chat?
Yeah, all I'm seeing is a blank live event Q&A screen.
All right, let me try to. So now, how about now?
I don't see anything in my chat.
Awesome.
Again, one sec.
Let's see. So when I go to people, I could see you, I could mute you, I could remove you, I could, but I can't change. Oh, hold on a second. You got switched to a guest again. Did you use, Hamilton, did you use the link? Sorry for everybody to be watching this, but Hamilton, did you use the link that the invite was on the invite?
Yes. The presenter link.
Yeah, because you're here as a guest and not an organizer. I'm trying to change your status. I thought I did. You're now as a presenter, but you still can't see the Q&A. All right. All right. Hold on a second, everyone. Bear with us one moment. Yeah, people are typing that only the Q&A. Yeah, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have Hamilton, who is our PA president, who I think you could hear, but I don't think you could see. But I see him. He looks great, and I'm trying to have him manage the Q&A so he could like sort of pose the questions to me, and from the Q&A, so I don't have to manage the questions and the answers. Yeah, but there is no chat function per se. I am talking about the Q&A. Yeah, oddly enough, Hamilton, I think you and I could chat. Like, and the chat function seems to work for, I think, you. Let me see if I, did you just see that in the chat?
My chat screen is still blank.
Okay. Now, when you go into the Q&A, can you see the Q&A?
I have a blank live event Q&A screen. It's blank.
I see what happens. So when everybody types in something in the Q&A, I have to publish it.
Oh, okay.
For it to be. So if I closed it, now I opened it, so I have to hit publish on every one of them for everyone to see it.
Is there a way you can designate me the publisher?
Trying to figure that out. Hold on. Or they automatically get published would be nice.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to give this just a couple of minutes, and if I can't figure this out, we will just start. I love all the helpful people trying to help me out in the chat in the thing. Okay. All right. I see. Yeah, I don't know how to change your status. Yeah, you're a presenter, but I guess presenters, when you first came in, I was able to make you something other. I made you a presenter. I could have made you maybe the producer, but then maybe they'd only see you and not me.
If I'm just a regular guest, would I be able to see the chat and therefore relay the chat questions to you?
No, I don't think so. Like it's in the Q&A, apparently only. So so I have 300 people that have written me in the Q&A. But I have to hit publish for people to see the questions. So I think, so if I'm hitting publish on them.
Can you hit publish every 2 or 3 minutes and then I can just scroll through, or does each response need to be published in order to show up in my chat?
I think if I publish each statement, everyone be able to see it, including yourself.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, people are typing to me that you should be able. Are you on an iPad by any chance?
No, I'm on a MacBook Pro.
So am I. Yeah. All right. People are saying that I would still have to approve or publish. All right, I'm giving up. Okay, so that's that. They could still hear you, even though so I am. So let's just begin. Sorry for the delay. We use this forum because it can accommodate more than 500 people. Zoom cannot, and so Zoom a little bit more user friendly and a little bit more Principal Newman friendly, as I use that regularly. And now I have 465 attendees. It makes me think I could have used Zoom, but hopefully 35 or 36 more people will show up to make me justify why we did it here. Okay, everyone. So, hi, my name is David Newman. I'm the principal of Brooklyn Tech. And to tell you, I guess I'll start by telling you a little bit about myself. I'm not going to do that long. I actually don't have a presentation purposely by design. This forum is really a Q&A where I am going to field questions from everyone under the sun. And the goal is to leave when all the questions have been answered. So the idea is you're gonna fire questions at me. Don't do it yet. And then I guess you'll see how I dance as regards to answering those questions. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself first. I'm sure you know a little bit about the school. So first of all, good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming. I surely appreciate that. This forum seems to be better than having parents come in for an orientation. So we'll see how it goes and whatnot. Once again, I'm David Newman. I've been, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I've been at Tech for I think this is my 24th year. I came as a teacher and was a teacher for a better part of a decade in the social studies department in the school. And then I was assistant principal of health and safety for a couple of years. For 7 or so years, assistant principal of the social studies department. And And then I've been principal now for 5 years, starting my 6th year. So hopefully that math all adds up. But so that's my story. I do. I guess I want to point out a little. I did go to a specialized high school when I was a student. I didn't go to Brooklyn Tech, but I went to another specialized high school. And I think that's important just to point out that I sort of know what it's like to be a specialized high school kid. I do collaborate with very much with the other principals at the specialized high schools. And I will tell you that in many respects, it's not, these schools are not so different than when I went. So I think that is just adds a little interesting perspective. We are starting school next week. We're very excited. Hopefully, everybody, all your children were able to come to orientation. We had orientation yesterday for 2 sessions, as you know, today for 2 sessions. Kids got to run around, 100 of the kids or 25 in each session. You might find your kids came home with a gym uniform that you didn't have to pay for. So if they won the Brooklyn Tech Amazing Race as a team, 25 students in each session, 100 total, got to win a gym uniform. So don't think they stole it or anything. We gave it to them. Everybody else does have to purchase a gym uniform, but that will be informed to them by their physical education teacher. I see questions already flying, so I am going to start answering them. Why not? And then if I think of other things to interject, I'll surely do that as well. Okay. Does the school provide tutoring? Yes. After school, the goal is to, in every single course that we give, it might not be your teacher, your child's teacher giving the tutoring, but in every single course we give after school, spread out on separate days. So it might be physics on Monday, it might be social studies on Tuesday, but we have teachers that are providing tutoring after school. Hamilton, you had some?
Yeah, yes. I just got a text from our friend Mary Hune. Yeah. She said you need to go into the setting and allow chat in screens because she can't hear you at all. So
allow chat in screens.
You go to into the settings.
Yeah.
And then I guess you can allow chat in screens once you're in settings. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. I don't see that. I'm in settings. So she can't hear me at all, but other people can hear me.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I guess here's another thing. Can you hear me, Hamilton?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, but yeah, I think people can hear me. Everybody's saying that they hear both of us.
Make the questions not private.
How do I do that? So she said to do that, but so she's asking me, she's telling me what to do without telling me how to do it. Yeah, that's what I was looking for, how to make the questions not private. That might have been maybe when I set it up initially, maybe once it started, I can't do that. That's the only thing I'm thinking of. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't interrupt. Go ahead.
All right, but I think people can hear me. So, okay. So tutoring after school, yes, we provide all of that. Okay, I'm gonna go start pulling through. Let me get back to the questions. Oh, people are writing long questions. Good. When does school end for freshmen? So students can have different schedules. So you can have a start time as early as 8 o'clock. You could have a start time at 8:45. You could even have a start time, probably not for freshmen, but at 9:30. Usually if you start at 8, you're done at 2:50. If you start at 8:45, you're usually done at 3:35. All right. If you're somebody asked about their child not having an NYC student account, if you don't, you need to contact us and Mary, our parent coordinator, and we'll fix that for you. It's probably because you were not in a DOE school before. If you were, you probably have an NYC student account. If your child needs a computer, can you request one from the school? Don't know your particular situation, but the overall answer is no. That the school doesn't give computers to students. If there is some extreme issue about financing or whatnot, that's a different story. But we don't give students computers for the most part. Oh, somebody's sending me a detailed information how to do this. Go to the calendar meeting button, select the meeting, and then meeting options. Yeah, see, I think what you're saying to me is these are, I think that's just settings I could do before I set up the meeting, not during the meeting. Let me try, why not? Like, let me see. Let me see. They really want you to ask the questions, Hamilton. They don't like how I'm like, yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can go into, yeah, I can't even get into my calendar now as I'm presenting. All right, I'm gonna bail on that. Can I talk about how students pick their physical education, science, music courses? So, freshmen are not picking them anymore. So that's physical education. It can be generalistic classes that teach you a number of skills. You know, they're somewhat seasonal. You might start with volleyball and then go into track and flow into basketball, let's say. Science is if you have taken living environment, you go into physics. If you have not taken living environment in 8th grade, you go into living environment. We are offering a pilot program, which many of you might know about, that if you took living environment, that you go into AP Bio instead of physics and take physics with everybody in junior year. We are letting in roughly 100 students into that. I think 350 applied, so everybody's not going to get it that asked for it, but it is a pilot program that we're doing this year. If you want chorus or a type of music class, you need to let us know. The assistant principal, head of that department, you can see it on the website. It is Gus Trombetta. You contact him, and then if you're not in a music or chorus class, you can get it. But when you filled out that survey that you filled out over the summer, you should have requested these things. But if you didn't, it's not the end all be all. We could still make it work. All right. How long will it take for middle school to process middle school records? We don't do that. That's the middle school. So if we didn't get your child's Regents grades, the middle school did not put it on the transcript. The second they put it on the transcript, I could see it. So unfortunately, if it's not there, you need to contact your middle school to have them put the Regents grades on. I can't see the Regents grades. I can't look it up. So if they need to put it on, if that answers your question. Okay.
David?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt again. I did get another text from Mary.
Yeah.
I should chime in to say that people should check the website for how to, I assume the school website, for how to reset student email and who to contact. And also to make sure everyone checks the website for the new bell schedule.
Yep. Thank you for that. And feel free as she sends you information to chime in. And maybe if I could figure it out on the fly, if she's in here, I assume she's in here. I can make her a presenter as well, and people could hear her if she wants to chime in. All right, let me get through some of these questions, and I'll get to that in a moment. Freshmen were not allowed to visit the STO store during student orientation to purchase the required gym outfit. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. We understand that. It would have been a little bit too chaotic to deal with all of that at one time. That will be dealt with through your PE class. You're going to have plenty of time to purchase the gym outfit, the gym lock, and the whole thing. So don't, it's not a first day thing that you have to have it the very first day you come in. So yeah, it's, yeah, don't worry about that aspect. Okay, you're asking, yeah, it does have to be, the gym uniform does have to be our gym uniform. You can't wear like your own shorts and your own t-shirt. So it does have to be our gym uniform. Every student has the same uniform. How do you ensure that freshmen don't get lost in the shuffle, both academically and socially, with 6,000 students? Well, there are a lot of things that we do to make Brooklyn Tech a smaller place. First and foremost, socially, you need to join a club. Matter of fact, it's mandatory. You have to accumulate club credits. Um, you have to join a club to make the world a little bit smaller. Students are also in advisory classes that make the world a little bit smaller. Students are clustered in their DDP and English classes together to make at least there's a couple of classes that they travel with the same exact students. That makes the world a little bit smaller. You gotta get involved in the mix. Clubs are really, really important. Sometimes during the day, it's work, and then there's a little respite after school, and in a club to find kids of like-minded interests so that you could make friends, and that's really important. Kids get lost a little bit in the hallways, right? That's and so I think you'll find upperclassmen, other people are very helpful in getting you where you need to go, letting you know where the gym is, all sorts of things you might not know. And so we have adults out and about looking for those things. I will say with the enormity of the building, it gets to be old hat after a couple of weeks, the ins and outs, everywhere where they are. I mean, somebody else asked about class size. Look, you're going to probably have, I don't know about average class size, but in many classes, you're going to have 34 students. And that's not different than any other school in the city in many respects, right? And so there is, yes, I mean, everything's bigger, right? I mean, we have more kids, but we have more adults, we have more social workers, we have more guidance counselors, we have more assistant principals. We don't have more principals, just one, but we have, more of everything. So the student to teacher ratio, the student to guidance counselor ratio, the student to social worker ratio are actually better than many small schools. We do have a lot of schools have one social worker. I will say that we bolstered our social workers so that each class has a social worker now. And we bolstered our guidance department to have some of the lowest caseloads of guidance counselors in comparison to surely other large schools in the city and other specialized high schools. All right, wait, there's more here. All right. More about the gym outfits, the physical education. Don't worry about it. We'll figure that out. Don't worry about the mad rush to buy a physical education. We've got this down to a science. All right. Is there musical electives if students don't already know an instrument? I believe, wow, I should know that answer that question. We've been trying to have introduction to keyboarding and introduction to guitar. I think we're running that. You caught me on the spot there. There was surely talk between myself and AP Trombetta. I think he ran those classes. I'm not totally sure. Maybe. All right, I'm going to find my cell phone. I'm going to text him, and I'm going to have a more accurate answer to that in a little bit. I don't know why my cell phone's not on me. Okay. Somebody's here, but would love to see everyone. Yeah, you can't see everyone. That you can't do because we're in a live event. You can only see me. All right. What AP courses do freshmen take? So every freshman is taking pre-AP World. And you can take DDP is for college credit. That's your art credit, design and drafting for production. And so you can get college credit for Rochester if you score over an 85 on the culminating exam, pay a small fee. We're obviously running this pilot program, AP Bio, in a freshman year. But besides that, there's no real APs besides those. In sophomore year, all students will take one of our flagship courses, AP Computer Science Principles. Hamilton, you got something? No?
Yeah. Mary said you should mention the violin and string lessons.
Oh, I don't know what that means. Okay, violin and string lessons.
Is there a music?
For beginners, you're saying. So what I said about keyboarding and guitar, she's saying is not true, but they do have intro to strings and violin.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so Mary said so. Look, contact.
She said classes for beginning singers who want to be in chorus.
Yes, that's absolutely true, in chorus. But somebody was specifically asking about if somebody wants to learn an instrument. Those are things to reach out to AP Trombetta. But I can get, when I get my cell phone in a second, I'll text him and he'll give me the full scoop. Okay. When will students receive their programs and schedules? So students receive their program and schedules when they come to school. And so on the first day of school, they will start school in what's called a prefect or like a homeroom. They will come directly in and we will send them to their prefect or their homeroom. And in that space for freshmen, it's almost going to be an hour. And in that space, they will receive their Metro card. They will receive their program. And then the spell schedule starts after prefect is over, and then you will follow your program. And so is a little bit of hint on that. I believe in your NYC student account, when we confirm all the programs, I believe you can go in and see it on your own. But many students will just see it for the first time when they get to school. Do you have to sign up for tutoring? No, you just go to tutoring. And so I will put out a schedule on the website, and you just go, but you don't have to sign up. Can or should students bring laptops? Tough question in a couple of regards. One, we don't want students to, break their laptops, get their laptops stolen. And I'm not saying that is a problem in school, because it is surely not, but I worry about them, navigating the city with these devices that cost a lot of money. But okay, but I'll end that part of it there. No one's going to prevent you from using a laptop in class. But here is the problem. I'm currently in a little bit of a rift in the sense of bandwidth. So it might clarify itself somewhat soon. But for now, and probably in the beginning of the year, Wi-Fi access for students will not be there, right? And so this is to make sure that all our computer labs and all our classes run smoothly. And so we don't have the bandwidth for students to be using their laptops and all of their cell phones on our Wi-Fi and run our class at the same time. There is an ask that we get exponentially increased bandwidth. It can be possibly a reality, but as of today, that's not a reality yet. And so you bring in your computer as of now on the first day, and you'll have no access to Wi-Fi. And so that might nullify your reasons for bringing in a computer at the beginning of the year. But I'll let people know about how that's going.
David.
Yeah.
Sorry to interject. I'm getting a text from Mr. Trombetta.
Oh.
Directly through Mary.
Yeah.
She asked me to read it, so this is actually from him.
Yep.
Fortunately, we do not have a piano program at Tech. However, there are opportunities such as jazz band, the spring musical, and acting as an accompanist with the choral groups. We also have a piano recital night each spring, which is a great way to demonstrate skills. At the moment, there are no classes that begin instrumental instruction from scratch. Students need to have at least some experience with their instruments, fingerings, basic understanding of reading music, the very basics in order to join our beginner band.
All right. Okay. So thanks for that clarification. Appreciate it. So there you have it. You have to have some background in music. Is there an actual store to purchase PE uniforms? Yes, there is an actual store. There is a student store that mostly has PE uniforms. It does have other items. It has Brooklyn Tech teddy bears and pajamas and golf shirts and sweatshirts and all sorts of other items. But usually it's the place that people go solely for gym uniforms. Okay. And also I will say that somebody just sent me an email, and thank you, Emma, that they could hear both Hamilton and I, but some people are having difficulty typing letters. Questions in the Q&A. I'm about 500 questions behind so far, but if you have questions and you can't type in the Q&A, you could send me an email, and I'll include that in the Q&A, because I do have on a separate screen here, I have my email live and open, so I'll be able to see that instantaneously as well. My email is dnewman2, DNEWMAN 2, the number 2, at schools with an S at the end, .nyc.gov. Okay. Is there, how can students arrive at school? How early can students arrive at school for breakfast and whatnot? 7:30. Is there an after-school program? There is a robust after-school program, Esther. I would say that that on any given day, there's like 40–50% of students who do not go home at the end of the day. I mean, there's a lot of kids around, either participating in sports in various places or participating in clubs on any given day. So there's a lot of that. So I don't know what you mean by after-school program, but if that's what you mean, we have a lot of that. If you mean after-school program to like take courses, that we don't have. There's no PM school. When do we find out our child's bell schedule, what their schedule will be? As I said, first day. Do students need to wear, and all students on the first day will report, well, I take that back. All freshmen will report for the first day, only for the first day at the same time. That will be 8:15. And then all, that's just for freshmen. And then after that, they will follow their schedule. Not just that day. I mean, follow the actual bell schedule for day 2. There will be a special schedule for day 1 to accommodate prefect at the beginning of the day. Do students need to wear their uniforms every day? I don't know what you mean by uniform. If you're talking about physical education uniforms, the answer is no. They only have physical education every other day. The other issue in that regard is students change in a locker room. So you don't have to come to school in your PE uniform. It is very typical for students not to be in a PE uniform, except while they're in PE. They change into it, they change out of it, right? And so yeah, so they don't usually go the rest of the day in their PE uniform. And there are no school uniforms, of course. All right. All right. I'm going to stop answering the questions about the schedule. It's the first day. They get it in the first day in prefect. Okay. Okay. Somebody asked about, oh, that's funny. I'm looking at the time of when the questions are posted, so I'm only 25 minutes behind the questions. So is somebody posted about non-binary students managed to change for Jim. So to talk about that, we have an equal access bathroom. We actually have 2 of them. If students choose to do so, they could change in those equal access bathrooms if that makes them more comfortable. If not, they could change in the regular which locker room if they choose to, but we do have equal access bathrooms. They could do, in either, whichever makes them feel more comfortable. What entrance does my child use in the morning? Half of you by your last name are going to be in Center West. Half of you are going to be in Center East. That Center West, Center East probably means nothing to you. I will send you out before school starts a map and let you know where you need to go. How many sections of AP Bio being offered? They're going to be offered 3, about 100 kids for freshmen. Okay, all right. Student government members, do they change each year? Yes, they could potentially change each year. Many students go from being the sophomore class president to the junior class president, but each year you do have to run for office again. All right. Yeah, talking about students traveling together, we're trying to collate that together. We did have students in orientation, clustered by what borough that they come from, especially, some that find the Eastern Queens kids and the Bronx kids and the Staten Island kids so they could find each other and cluster. We could surely help you to, find people near you so you could travel together, if that is your concern. How many periods in ninth graders attend? It matters how many classes you have. If you have music, that's going to add another period. If you have AP Bio is a double period class, so that's going to add another period, right? So if you have AP Bio and a music class or a chorus class, you might have a 1 to 10 schedule and be in school from 8 to 3:35. But you might have only a 7-period day. Those are all including lunch. Well, an 8-period day, including lunch. All right. Okay, somebody asked about the authorization to disclose contact information to military recruiters and or institutions of higher education. Yeah, you could. So the question is about the opt-out. You can opt out and then opt in later on and figure that out. It's just about sharing that information. Yeah, talking about registering for clubs. How do you do that? Clubs are, you just show up to the club. Yeah, and you register and you show up. It all starts off with a club fair that we should have in about 3 weeks. So clubs don't normally meet in the first 3 weeks. And then it kicks off with a club fair. And then, every club will have like a booth to sort of woo you in to see if you might like, the people who are trying to woo you, and also the content or the subject matter that the club is based around. So that we have a huge club fair, you find what's for you, and then you could sign up then. You could also, if you missed the club fair, if you decide to change your mind, after the club fair, you can show up to the first meeting and register then as well. All right. How will students be able to see their upcoming assignments? There's an online platform that we'll be using where parents and students alike will be able to see their assignments, be able to see the grades that they got in those assignments as well. All right. Can I add another section of AP Biology? I cannot. And so that's as much as I could offer based on my teaching power, the number of teachers I have currently. Okay, so the AP Bio, if you might or might not know that the registration for that or asking to be considered for that ship has sailed. We are already programming kids for that. And so at this point, if you haven't registered, you are not going to be considered for it. All right. Metro cards, every kid gets a Metro card. Long Island Railroad is a different story. You need to stop in one W2. This means not much to you, but to your students it will. 1 being the first floor, west side, room 2, and that's where we have our transportation office. If you need to work out something with the LIR, they'll give you applications for that. Yep.
This would actually be a good little transition into a text that Mary just sent me. Kids who didn't come to orientation can pick up a planner in her office, which is 1W7. So just around the corner from the transportation office.
Sounds good. What are music additions for orchestra and chorus? That is a good question. I think that there are not auditions. There are just sign-ups, and that happened by survey. Maybe Hamilton, you want to shoot to Mary, to shoot to Gus to get a better answer for that. But we don't have auditions to get into. You sign up for something and you're interested in, and you get in. And so it's not an audition. We're taking your word for it.
Mary may be following up on that, but she did just text me to say that kids who use the LIRR need to get a form from the LIRR office first.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes. Oh, okay. No, I don't know. And so I'm just, I thought we have the form in-house. We'll get you information on that. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start publishing each question as I ask them. So what, okay. People still send me directions to how to get you to see the chat. All right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, school supplies, right? High school's a little bit of a different, game as far as school supplies. They're very limited school supplies that you need for high school. Um, a pen, something to write on, maybe a backpack, maybe not. That you probably want to bring a backpack because teachers might give you a textbook. Um, Textbooks are not usually brought back and forth; they stay home. Um, it's a good idea to bring a backpack and a binder or something to write on and a pen on day one. That's a good idea. Um, right. So I'll start publishing. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you can see that now. I don't know. Maybe you can't. Okay. So yeah. So now you should be able to go in the published area of the Q&A or whatever it says, and everybody should now see the first question I published. Or it doesn't really matter if you can or can't, but there you go. All right. My school's account, if you're coming from private school, that's something that you're going to work. We'll send out information. I think Mary already answered that question. I don't remember what the answer was right now, but we will help you with that. Okay. Wait, all of a sudden, oh, all right. I'm not going to publish any more questions because now I realize when I hit publish, it jumped me to the beginning of all the questions again. And so now I have to spend a few minutes panning down from all the statements in the very beginning of, yes, we could hear you, of which there's 300 of them. But thank you for that. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Okay. Can students take swimming as part of PE? You might get put in swimming. Usually later on after freshman year, absolutely you could request swimming. There are some students that love swimming. There's some students that hate swimming. So in the upper classes, we do let you select PE. That even includes you could have golf in our golf simulator. You could have yoga gym. And there's all sorts of different types of PE, and but those are mostly available to after freshman year. Okay, moving along. Lots of questions about when are we receiving our schedule. How I see the daily progress of my child. Is there any way to see what subjects my child has, freshman? So you will be able to see once they have their program, you'll be able to see their program. You'll also be able to see, as I talked about earlier, through our online platform, we'll tell you how to get into that. You'll be able to see literally day by day, live, how your student is doing. Their assignments and grades will be all put in there. It's a transparent grade book that you could all see. Yeah.
Mary just texted something about Teach Hub through nycstudents.net for scheduling.
Right. So she's saying where you could see your schedule as soon as, first of all, it's not even up yet. So we're not finalizing schedules, probably not until tomorrow late, maybe even on Tuesday morning. So you can go in there and see the schedule beforehand. But like, as I said, we're going to give it to you the first day in prefects. Yeah, somebody asked, can you take in consideration where students live when deciding schedules? So schedule's already made. Deciding beforehand where students live is a little bit complex, as you can imagine. Fitting together like that perfect like Tetris of 6,000 schedules is fairly difficult. And so, but I will say that we will take in consideration where you live as far as program changes. So for example, if you have a first period class and you live in Staten Island and it takes you a long time to get to school, you can let us know and we can try to by hand move around your schedule a little bit in the first 2 days. Only program changes in the first 2 days. Thursday, first day of school, Friday, second day of school. After that, there are no program changes. We don't have kids coming in and out of classrooms, second, third, fourth week of school. That's not happening, right? So the first 2 days, we will have an online form for you to fill out if you want to move something or making any changes and whatnot. So those will be in the first 2 days. There's very limited changes for freshmen, as there's no electives really. Other things, I mean, you might decide to take music, and then, I don't know, second day in, you might decide to drop music. And so, but after that, there's no dropping, there's no adding, there's nothing. A rising sophomore is able to get new photo IDs. We're actually going to give new IDs. It's not going to happen on day one, but every single student in the school is going to get new IDs. There are new designations and what we can and can't put on an ID, and actually our old IDs don't meet NYC standards anymore. They have a little bit too much information, so we have to take some information off and issue everybody new IDs. So there's a new guidance around that that just got sent out. So now we're going to adhere to that. Everybody's going to eventually get a new ID. Is lunch staggered? Absolutely. 6,000 kids cannot eat lunch at the same time, and so we have lunch is early, unfortunately, is like 10:30 in the morning. There's a fourth period, fifth period, sixth period, seventh period, eighth period, and a ninth period lunch. And so so they are definitely staggered out, and that helps us to accommodate all the classes that students might be taking. Do most or all students eat school lunch? I don't know. The food services can answer that better than I. It's a pretty high percentage. The lunch is, I think, pretty good. There are some students, especially students that, I don't know, that have a ninth period lunch, but that's their last period of the day, might choose to leave the building and get lunch outside. Most do eat school lunch. There's some students that bring lunch on their own and eat it in the cafeteria instead of eating school lunch, but it seems the lunch seems pretty good. Most kids don't horrifically complain about lunch. When will students get their BTHS student emails? I think, and Mary, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think they have them already, right? I think we've already sent out information on how to access your BTHS email, and I think you got it already. I already talked about when clubs start, after the club fair, about 3 weeks away. Is there support for teaching study skills and organizing time? Absolutely. Those are some of the topics that are broached in their advisory class that all freshmen have. Is there extra security on the streets and around the school? We have what we consider a safe corridor, mostly from us to Atlantic, and then from us to DeKalb Avenue train station. That's pretty much the direction it's going. And safe corridors means that I do have usually a patrol car in both places, watching out, making sure kids are okay. So there's that. I don't have safety agents normally, though, outside the school. Usually they just work in the school, but I do have police outside during early times and dismissal times, looking out for our kids. Absolutely. We have a great partnership with our local precinct, the 88th precinct. When we have fire drills, they come out in mass, they close the streets for us. They, we have a very good partnership with them. Okay.
David?
Yeah.
I did hear back from Mary. The BTHS emails are set up. Check the website.
Thanks, Hamilton. Okay. Okay. Somebody asked if child passed the living environment, global history, ELA, and algebra regents in 8th grade. That's a lot. Will they have to take these exams again? Maybe. So what I don't know is, did your child actually sit in those courses? So did they take the course and get credit? If they took the course and got credit, and I see credit on the transcript, they got a grade, they got credit for the course, and they took the regents, in 8th grade, you're good to go. You don't need to take that anymore. You have credit for it. But if you just took those regents Without the courses, you have to get mastery on the regions to be eligible to get credit for the course, right? So you have, so if let's say you got an 80 on the global history regions without ever taking the global history class, you're going to need to retake the class. Not the regions, but you're going to actually need to retake the class or take the class actually because you've never taken it. Okay. Club credits, community service hours, you need to get them. You need to get involved, right? And so you'll hear a lot more about that for just out of the gates. You need to join a club. At least one club freshman year, you need to join it. And so that'll get you a good start, and you'll find out so much more about that. Can students select their schedule both in terms of classes? There are some classes that you could select as you get in the upper classes. You could select, for example, next year you could select AP World History, AP European History, or you could select to stay in regular world history. So there are some type of selections that you can make, and obviously next year you will select your major, something we're surely known for. By the end of the year, you will select your major for the following year, and then that will dictate a schedule of 5 classes over the next 2 years after that, junior and senior year, that will be in your major. Can you select a start and end time? No, you cannot. And so if you have some, like we talked about, travel issues or whatnot, we could change schedules afterwards, but we don't take student surveys to find out if they want early or late class and whatnot. Please indicate what students should expect in terms of homework. Okay. During weekdays, and is weekends more or less. So every class can give about 20 minutes to a half an hour of homework. When it is fairly typical to have 2 or 3 hours of homework a day. On the weekend, that is seen as one day. So on Friday from Monday, I guess it'll be lighter because you get the same amount of 2-3 hours of work, but now over a whole weekend. So each day you could expect 2 to 3 hours of homework Monday through Friday. And I guess Friday's homework is not due until Monday, if that makes sense. All right, so Victoria, you're asking me questions about getting credits accepted from a school from another state. Just Victoria, send me that email in an email on the side, and I'll send that to the proper people to see how we could expedite this. I don't know if it's an issue with your school not sending the stuff, or we haven't had somebody, it might have come over the summer, and I have no one working over the summer, and no one's looked it over to accept the credit. So just lay it out for me, Victoria, in an email, and I'll see what I can do on my end. To school have computers in the library for kids study? Absolutely. So we have computers in the library. We have places for students to print out things. Yes. Why in the school is there no air conditioning classes? Who told you that? We got air conditioning classes. Okay, I'm going through multiple questions. Can students bring in iPads to their laptop? Sure. Can you change the schedule, start early, when and how? Once again, right? That needs to be like a real transportation issue, not like I don't like getting up early, or I want to start later, or I have these other issues going on, or I have to take care of my little brother, little sister, like none of that. It's just if you have extreme travel hardships, that is when we could possibly accommodate your schedule. Does tutoring time conflict with the last period? No. Tutoring starts after the day, about 3:45. Students do not stay with the same students in all their classes. They do for English and DDP, but not for the other classes. Vaccinations. The students have to be fully vaccinated to attend class in person. No, they do not. And also on that class, there is no not in person. You must come in person. There is no virtual school whatsoever. Not at Brooklyn Tech. Questions about specific PE classes. You get to choose them in upper classes. Oh, somebody asked about like what classes you can be taking. So that's so you'll have everybody will have freshman English. It is there's a whole lot of grammar in that class and writing styles and whatnot, and a little bit of reading as well. That changes in the upper years and it becomes more literature. You'll have either living environment or AP Bio or physics. Everybody will have pre-AP World, you'll have physical education, you'll have DDP, which is design and drafting for production, which counts as an art credit, which is basically like computer assisted drafting, but there is prototyping and 3D modeling and 3D printing involved in that as well. What am I missing? You got a science, you got a social studies, math. You will either take Algebra 1. If you're ready to take an Algebra 1, you will move on to geometry. Well, let me take that back. Yes, if you take an Algebra 1, you're going to move on to geometry. If you have not taken Algebra 1 in 8th year, what we do is you get a double period in the fall of Algebra 1, and then you finish Algebra 1 in the fall, and then you get a double period of geometry in the spring. Therefore, all sophomores begin with Algebra 2 at the same pace, no matter what. I think I got all your subjects. I don't. Oh, and a language, right? And so that's the language that we see fitted. You continue with your language. There might be some movement on language based on your preference in those first 2 days as well. All right. IDs, we're going to likely give you in the beginning on the first day an ID that says your name, and it has a barcode, so we can slash through and get your name. It's not going to have your picture on it yet, and then we'll likely get you another ID in a few weeks that has your picture on it. Our ICT classes only available for Regent level courses. Our ICT class offered for AP class or major classes. Well, the ICT classes are offered based on what is on an individual student's IEP, right? So what it says on your IEP, that's what you could get ICT for. So usually it is pretty standard to get ICT classes if you're approved for that in what we call the core 4 in science, math, social studies, and English. There are not ICT offered in major classes. There's no ICT for physical education. There could be ICT for AP classes if it is a social studies, an English AP, a math AP, or a science AP. But usually that's what we call the core 4, and that's what we offer ICT class on, and generally that's what you would get approved for in an IEP. But if you're only approved for like math and science, ICT, that's all you would get.
David?
Yeah.
Mary has chimed in. There will be some language placement tests to be determined.
Okay, thanks. The guidance counselors stay the same for 4 years or change year by year. Yes, they stay the same for 4 years. So the guidance counselor you get this year will be your guidance counselor for all the rest of your years through graduation. Yes, parents will get, I'm saying yes, you don't know what the question is. So it's, will parents get their own user ID and password to access the child's progress and look at the grade book? Yes, they will. Is swimming mandatory? No, it is not. You don't need to You don't if you're in swim PE, you don't have to know how to swim before taking the class, and it is not mandatory to take swimming before you graduate. Are grades in PE included in your GPA? Yes, they are. So are music as well. If you signed up for, if you do get in the AP Bio pilot, you are not going to take a science regents your freshman year. You've already taken your living environment regents. There's obviously no regents for AP Bio. And so if you're taking AP Bio, you're going to have no science regents freshman year. Advisory. So advisory is a program that many things happen. You are learning how to navigate tech. You're learning how to navigate high school. You're learning how to take notes, how to get organized. You're making friends. You're going through some social emotional learning as we talked about. It is a great entry point for all sorts of initiatives. We have people push in and talk about college to freshmen. We have people push in and talk. It's such a captive audience. We'll have times where the SGO, the students will push in themselves and talk to you about getting involved in the school and whatnot. So it's a real, it offers so many things. It also offers not only friends, it also offers some sort of relationship between students and an educator in somewhat of a non-academic setting, right? And so advisory, although is the grade, it's pass fail, it's interesting having a math teacher not teaching you math and just teaching you social skills and note-taking skills and academic survival skills. And we do find that in years to come, when you have an issue, obviously many students go to their guidance counselor, but we have students years later go back to their advisory teacher to talk about some of their difficulties that they're having with school. So it's also to get a trusted adult involved in your child's education beyond their teachers. Do we use textbooks in school? Most likely not. You bring them home and you leave them home. Do you need to bring your own devices? Not necessary. Many students have cell phones. Many teachers will, it's not mandatory to have a cell phone by any means, but many teachers will do things with cell phones in the class. And if you don't have one, we could find a way around that. It's not the biggest deal in the world. But you don't have to have these devices. It's not mandatory for you to succeed in school by any means. Like on the computer front, most students don't have, are not have their computers on their desk in class or bring them at all. Okay. I don't know. Somebody's asking how do you get into AP Bio, like the Regent score cutoff. To be honest, it's going to be high. I mean, we had, I don't know, 300 and something people ask for it. It's probably going to be pretty high. I mean, if I had to guess off the top of my head, it's going to be north of 90, I would say that. But she has 100 seats. The top 100 are going to get in, and that's just going to be it. How to join clubs such as debate. The debate does have tryouts, and so you come to that just like a club when they first meet, and they are going to advertise and have tryouts for debate. What if my child missed the AP Biology or Physics Google Form deadline? It's too late. So you can't get an AP Bio then, and then you're going to go into physics. How does my student earn college credits? That could be in a variety of ways. We talked about DDP, AP classes. There are some other Project Learn the Way classes that you could qualify for college credits as well. You'll find that out down the road. Those are mostly for our engineering majors. You didn't take the biology regents last year. Can you join the AP Bio program? No. No, you can't. You might come in the entrance. Like I said, we're going to tell you what entrance to come in, so don't worry so much about that. We'll let you know in an email. We'll give you a map, and we'll let you know where you're supposed to come in the morning. Yeah. How are parents going to communicate with teachers? So first and foremost, regardless of our platform that we utilize for grading and communication, you also can communicate with them through the website. You just click on like a teacher's name and it will send them an email. If Regents results are on their My Student account, does that mean it's on their transcript? I think so, but that's something definitely to reach out to their guidance counselor to see if it's on their transcript. Is dance a specific club that students can take? Yeah, there are dance clubs. So somebody's asking, what was the summer survey? You had to fill out all sorts of information. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. We know what classes your kid needs. Even if they want to take music at this point, they might be able to get in during the first 2 days. Asking about chorus. Once again, that would be AP. It should be on the website, but we're talking about AP trombetta. If our student took Regents exams at Brooklyn Tech, how do we get those scores? I don't know what you mean by that. You're in middle school, and I let a couple of kids take the Regents. Is that what you're saying? You would still get that from your middle school. Oh, I guess you're coming from a private school. Well, that's interesting. I don't know. And so you would normally get it from your school that you were at the time. I don't have access to them. Although you took it at my school, I don't have access to it. That's interesting though. All right. So if you're a private school, the scores should have been sent there. If you can't find them anywhere, let me know and I'll have somebody from Central track down where those scores are. If my child signed up for AP Bio, but now I don't like it, how do I cancel it? Don't cancel at this point. In the first 2 days, you just drop the course. Is it okay that we bought the gym uniform online? Sure. What supplies? I think we already covered that. Don't worry about supplies for now. Teachers will tell you if you need anything. Like I said, it's not like the younger grades. Don't expect like this list of school supplies day one. It's really not going to happen. And so you really just need something to write on of your choice. And there are very few classes that really, even if they want a separate folder, they won't mandate it. You really just need something to write with and something to write on.
David?
Yeah.
Can you make Mary a presenter or no?
Mary, let me find you. Hold on. If I have to go, Mary, I'm going to be very mad at you now that I had to switch away from the Q&A. If I have to go through the list again, Mary, can I find her? Let me see. I have a Mary. Let me see. All right, let me see. I don't know. I sent you some request. It's calling you apparently, Mary. Is it calling you? Do you see it calling you?
She's on a delay too, by the way. Time delay.
Mary, on my end, it says that it's calling you. Whatever that means. Is it? All right, hold on. Let me see. It's still calling you, Mary. Still calling you. All right. Oh, Mary, wait. I got you. Mary, take your microphone off, or I mean, turn your mic on, and let's see if we can hear you. Come on, Mary.
There we go. No?
Yeah, we can hear you.
There?
I think everybody
Okay,
else
great.
can hear you.
All right.
You better have something to say.
Okay, I'll just wait. I'm just gonna, because I'm on this delay thing now, so.
Yeah, all right,
Let's
great.
go.
Thank you. It took me the beginning of the question, so give me a few minutes to get back to where we were.
Oh, there we go.
All right. And hold on. Why don't you talk and say something while I'm trying to get to where we were?
We all had a great, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Can you hear
can.
me?
I think
Okay.
they all can. Let's just go with that.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a weird time delay.
Don't
Oh
worry
my
about it. Just keep
gosh.
talking. Let's go for it. No?
What was the last question?
Just say something while I get to the questions.
We had a great orientation day.
You might be cutting in and out.
Very weird. I don't understand.
No, well, we heard that clearly. All right, Mary, we've had enough of you. I'm back to the questions. All right.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Mary.
I just want to interrupt when you're talking. I don't want to.
All right. Can I? Somebody just says, can I? Andre, you asked me, can you speak about regions? Give me a little bit more clarity.
We had a great orientation. There's this time delay. Sorry.
All right, Mary. Thank you for that. We had a great orientation. We got it. Awesome. Terrific. So Andre, please clarify your question. You just said, can you speak about regions? So I don't know what you mean by that. So just give me a little bit more clarity. And I'll catch up to it. When does the 504 paperwork need to be submitted? That can be on a rolling basis, Donna. That could be any time. And so you just we'll let you know about the process, and you could, but it can be at any time. I mean, it could be something that in the middle of the year that it's decided that a 504 is needed. It could be something at the very beginning of the year. So if you're already talking about a 504, you should submit it as soon as possible to get any type of accommodations that you're looking for. So yeah, the sooner the better. Okay. I heard from my child that school operates on a 10-day cycle. Would the first day of school be considered the first day of the 10 days? No. I mean, so we keep the days intact. In other words, a Monday is always a 1, a Tuesday is always a 2, a Wednesday is always a 3, Thursday is always a 4, Friday is always a 5. Then the next Monday is always a 6. And then so we cycle through, right? So we, on this theory, we're going to be starting, it's week 1, but we don't meet on Monday, we don't meet on Tuesday or Wednesday. So 1, 2, and 3 are gone. So you're going to be starting on day 4 of the cycle. Kids will understand this. It already sounds confusing, I know, but it explains when you're having your PE classes, which are every other day. It also is when your labs, when you have your once a week lab, it lets you know what day. All right. If you lose your SGO sticker, will you lose your credit? No. The credit's not embedded in the sticker. It's kept in an electronic file. People asking what is DDP. I think I got to that. I'm almost like an hour behind in questions right now. So I think I answered that. Where should I send their completed medical vaccination form? We'll tell you all about that. Can you explain a little bit about the regular high school diploma, the Regents diploma, the Brooklyn Tech diploma? Very, very quickly, Ken. Regular high school diploma, most of our students don't get. It's just the bare minimum of required courses. Nothing wrong with that, of course. The Regents diploma means you've taken a certain number of Regents, a 4+1 or 5 Regents that you've passed, and across different subjects. And a Brooklyn Tech diploma includes the club credits and the service hours. many students get above a Regents diploma and get an advanced Regents or advanced Regents student honors, and those are dictated by the 4+1, the 4 Regents +1 or 5, and getting certain grades on those particular Regents. Are there lockers? Yes, there's lockers to change for in physical education, but there are also lockers in not in the hallways, but in the classrooms. Every classroom pretty much has lockers that students can use. Are there enough lockers for all the kids? No. We probably have, I don't know, if I had to guess, I should probably know this, but if I had to guess, we probably have about 4,000 lockers for 6,000 kids. So every kid doesn't get a locker. On the other hand, every kid doesn't want a locker. And so, we don't have books coming and going so much, right? Lockers, a lot of kids, all they put in the locker is their coat, and a lot of kids don't want to put their coat in the locker and they just travel around with it. So we don't really have a situation where it's like we need more lockers. That really hasn't come up. Yeah. If my daughter lives far away from school and can't stay after school, how will she get club credits? I mean, we could figure that out. Clubs don't meet that late. There are definitely, one day a week, maybe you can get home a little bit late. I mean, clubs are usually, they're definitely out by like 5 o'clock, maybe even earlier. I don't know how far you live, but maybe if your daughter participates in a club, she gets out at 5 o'clock, it's an hour and a half away, she gets home at 6:30. I don't know. To me, it's not the worst thing in the world. Easy for me to say. I don't know what your commute is like, but yeah. That being said, we probably have some clubs online as well, so we can figure that out. Are kids assigned lockers? No. So they can store jackets and books. They're usually not assigned. It's just they sort of just claim them. And then they tell the teacher, they ask the teacher if they can have a locker in their room. Mostly it's their first class of the day, or maybe their last class of the day. You can't use the lockers all day because we have class in session. You can only go in between periods and at the beginning and end of the day. All right. Are there medical forms that need to be completed? I mean, yes and no. I mean, as long as your vaccination is up, that we have it, that should be fine. So there's no real medical forms. There are opt-outs that you could fill out. That is an opting out of the CATCH program, which we provide health services in the building, including contraception. And so you could opt out of that. Can freshmen start a club? Sure. If one of our 250 clubs doesn't meet, if that you don't, it's not something for you, yes, you could start a club. You'd have to really get it going in the beginning of the year to start a club. You'd have to be pretty focused on that from the beginning. If you don't start it like in the very, very beginning, you're going to miss it, and then you'd have to start it in the spring, but you could do that as well. All right. Like I said before, somebody's asking, how do you arrive the first day? All freshmen are going to have to arrive at 8:15. The time between classes is 4 minutes on the bell schedule. Is that enough time to get from one class to another? The building's so large. It should be, and it better be, because we don't want students to be late to class. They know there's no nonsense in between class. They just got to move. So if your class is really far away, you might opt not to wait for the elevator and get in the stairway and get going, because you can get there. It's just a matter of, usually students are late when they want to take the elevator and they wait for the elevator, right? But otherwise they can get there.
David?
Yeah, go for it.
One text from Mary. You only need your COVID vaccination and you need your meningitis vaccine by senior year.
Yep. Yep, got it. Okay. Say our kid doesn't make the swim team but still love to swim. Condition maybe improve for next year. Is there a swimming program for that? No, I mean, there's swim gym or swim physical education, but there's not there's not like an after school or before school program for students who are not on the swim team. No, there's not a program for that. Or like swim tutoring or swim lessons. No. Why don't you have AC in every classroom? Where is this all coming from? We do have AC in every classroom. What kind of rumors are getting spread out there? Oh, in the auditorium, though. The auditorium is not a classroom. And as you know, and we do not have air conditioning in the auditorium. Our auditorium has no external access at all. So it's in the middle of the building. To get an internal HVAC system that has no access to the outside would be very costly and probably prohibitive. And, it's something we've surely looked into. And so far, the city's not willing to suck down that price tag. But we do have air conditioning in classrooms. Right. I'm moving along. All right, I'm moving along. When students purchase lunch in school since they can't go out to lunch, or do they need to bring lunch from home? No, you neither. You get lunch in school, so you can bring it from home, but you surely don't need to. You will get lunch in school, and that is correct. We do not let students go out for lunch. Is music required? No, it is not. Not at all. If you don't want to take it. Talked about school IDs, talked about arrival the first day. How will students know which homeroom to attend? Well, we will send it out. You will know in a mail merge what homeroom to attend, but we will have it in posters on the walls and we'll shuffle everybody in. Now, freshmen have a different thing. All freshmen are going to report to the auditorium. So you'll have certain designated spots in the auditorium, but you're not going to a classroom per se. All freshmen have prefect in the auditorium together in separate sort of pods, but it's all in the auditorium. So there are going to be a whole lot of kids in the auditorium, but they will all be freshmen. So all students, once again, start at 8:15 on Thursday, and I will be sending that up. Coming along. A lot of repeat questions, going through them. What is the school cell phone policy? So students may use a if a teacher wants you to use it for educational purposes in class, of course you can use it. We don't, if a student is using a cell phone in the lunchroom or other spaces outside of class, we don't usually care. That's fine. In the classroom, teachers usually have their own cell phone policies and they'll let you know when you could use it. Even if a teacher lets you use a cell phone for academic reasons, it surely does not mean you could take it out and start texting people, right? That's a big no-no, and phones could be taken away if you're doing those sort of behaviors. Is this a smoke drug-free school? I don't know what that means in the sense of, do we allow those things to happen? Of course we do not. Students can face disciplinary measures for smoking or doing any type of drug in our school. So I don't know what you mean by smoke drug-free school, but yeah, but there are penalties and ramifications for doing those sort of behaviors in our schools, surely.
David?
Yeah.
Another question from Mary about what about new incoming sophomores, not freshmen? Auditorium ? I assume would they go there?
No, they're probably going to.
Sophomores, not freshmen. The new
The sophomores are going to have a regular prefect in a classroom. They're not going to be in the auditorium. All right. Yeah, so people ask about start. Yes, there are going to be multiple starting times after the year begins, but the very first day, all freshmen are coming in at 8:15. That is not true of the new incoming sophomores. You're going to have a separate time to come in at 8:45, but all the freshmen are coming in at 8:15 only on the first day. After that, you come in when your first period begins according to our bell schedule. Can you explain what it means that they have to be part of club? Do they need a certain amount of credits for clubs? Yes, they do. And there is no time like freshman year to start going to clubs. Absolutely.
David.
Yeah.
Mary wanted to emphasize no smoking or consuming alcoholic beverages.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, I can't, yeah, okay. So she wanted me to emphasize, don't do those things. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Thank you, Mary.
I got some emojis, so I assume that's what she meant.
Okay. All right. Can a parent and student meet with a guidance member to change classes such as algebra, cell geometry? So you don't need to do that. You just fill out an add drop form. It's electronic. You don't need to talk to anybody. You don't have to give any reasons. We sort of figure it out. If you want to take algebra instead of geometry, we're going to give you algebra if you have never had algebra. So we're not going to push you into geometry. So, but if there's some issue, you just fill out the form electronically, and then there's no real need to have a conversation with anybody. We see what you need, we see the issue, and we fix it. Okay. Does Brooklyn Tech have direct connections to any colleges, specifically Harvard? We have connections to pretty much every college in the United States. I don't know what you mean by connections. I don't know. I mean, the head of admissions at Harvard, Miss Fitzgerald, I know her. So, I mean, I don't know her personally because she knows me. I mean, she knows me as principal of the school. We've had conversations. I think we do, all these schools recruit at our school, either virtual. Now those are happening much more virtually. We do have a Brooklyn Tech College Fair where representatives of all the great schools, I would like to think, participate in this virtual college fair just for Brooklyn Tech. We have deep connections to all these colleges. I mean, Harvard and any other school takes armies of our kids every single year, year after year after year. And so they rely on us for the type of kids that we could provide. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Is the men's team golf tryout yet? You can only see the girls one. If it's not on the website, tryouts have not begun yet. So you have to keep looking on the website. There is a sports area that you could hit the sports tab and then the athletic tab, and then it will tell you about all the tryouts. All right. Oh, that is a good question. How much is gym uniform? I don't know. That is a question. I am stumped. I don't know what I don't know what the amount is off the top of my head. I don't know. Mary, do you know? I don't know. All right. I don't know yet. We're not making like, a fortune on the gym uniforms. There's not really an upcharge, so to say. It's just, pretty much what it costs us. I know people always complain about how much the locks are. I think they're like $12 locks or something like that. I don't remember how much the whole thing cost though. Is there an organized program where older students mentor freshmen? Absolutely. It's called the Big Sib program, and each Big Sib will have have a number of students that they talk to, send sort of like a newsletter bulletin to, tap into. So yeah, they have a senior that is assigned to them, a Big Sib. All right. Why are we introducing gym uniforms this year? Um, I don't know what that question's about, but I don't know what I mean by introducing. I mean, we've always had gym uniforms. Last, like last year, I got rid of gym uniforms only because I didn't have students going into the locker rooms to change, but we're going back to changing in the locker rooms. So that is why we didn't have gym uniforms for a short period of time, but we're using locker rooms again. All right. Right. Oh, somebody's asking about the increase of bandwidth for Wi-Fi. Is the funding coming from the DOE, PA alumni? It's not a financial issue, actually. It's the central DOE controls Wi-Fi. We actually don't pay for it out of our own individual budget. It's something that's provided to schools, and so it's for lack of a better term, like it's an ask that we increase our bandwidth from the DOE, and just they look at it and they decide yes or no. But it's not a financial decision. It's a controlling bandwidth decision, And so anyway. If you need to communicate with faculty, you go on the website and you can email anyone on the website. Absolutely. What time is the library close? We have extended hours for the library most days. School, as I said, ends at 3:35. Most of the time, most days, the library is open well past that to 5-ish each day, as students might need it. Maybe some students like to do their schoolwork at school, or their homework at school, and we provide that space. Do I expect any budget cuts to impact class offerings or other programs this fall at all? No, I mean, we're running all the classes that we want to run. I already have my budget. We're already running classes. I'm not going to cut any classes from here on in. So we're good. There's been no impact budgetarily on anything that we're offering. Can you give an update on the chorus program? What do we need to know prior to joining? Do we need to audition? I think you do audition. Maybe that's, Mary, that's a question for Gus. Maybe you want to send it in. How do you get into chorus at this point if you want to get in? We could send that over. Are clubs remote or in person? We're shifting back to in person. Clubs are going to be in person. There are no mandated social distancing guidelines from the state nor the city. And so clubs are going to be in person. Do students get homework during the holidays? Not really. You might get a project, but let's say the break is a week long, right? You would have to find out about that project a full week in advance. In other words, you have to have time to maybe do the work in advance if this makes sense, so you don't have to do it on vacation, right? But on the surface, vacation homework, even if it's given way before the vacation, is heavily discouraged and cannot be due like the first day back. It is really, the idea is to have a vacation. All right, moving along. Are there intramural sports after school? There are some clubs like, but they're not really intramural. They don't play each other. They do play maybe other intramural teams. For example, We have an ultimate Frisbee club that does play Bronx Science and plays Forest Hills and plays some other schools. And so there are some sports that are not PSAL that are, but it's mostly clubs that PSAL, that we either don't have a team for or PSAL doesn't have a team for, like Ultimate Frisbee. Is there a dress code? There is a dress code. It is on the website. We're not talking about anything close to a uniform but there is some basic dress code things like, not having clothing that says profanity, depicts things that are, I don't know, racist or would offend anyone, or that's all on the website under dress code. You can go look at it. It's just so it is I would say a pretty liberal dress code, but there is no tolerance for any type of attire that would offend somebody, if that makes sense, right? All right. All right, lots of questions I answered. All club gives credits. Yes, all clubs give credit. What time do students have to be there on the first day? I said that 8:15. Can you say more about the equal access bathroom? Does it accommodate multiple students, and is it convenient to the gym for changing? It does not really accommodate multiple students. The idea behind an equal access bathroom is actually a single bathroom that could be locked in the interior. So it doesn't accommodate multiple students. Is it convenient to the gym? Fairly convenient to the gym. We in the two equal access bathrooms thus far, and surely that could change and we could re-examine it. Thus far, we haven't had issues where students are waiting to change, and there's so many students that want to utilize it that it becomes a hardship to utilize these two bathrooms. So far, that has not happened, and surely if that starts happening, we'll re-examine and try to open up more bathrooms. I will say that we have large bathrooms, right? I mean, the school was built to accommodate lots of people, and so there is a boys and girls bathroom on each floor, big bathrooms, right? And so, but there are not many like small bathrooms, and so, and I will say, surely the school was built at a different time. It's somewhat difficult to accommodate, all students in this regard, right? But so anyway, but if it's not accommodating for everyone, we will surely re-examine that and see if we need to open up additional equal access bathrooms. Private bus services, Staten Island. There has been talk for the better part of 40 years about private bus services, Staten Island. That could be something that could be arranged through the PA. That it is never taken off. Every time we talk about doing it, and we being the PA, it's just never enough kids, never enough to get it going. And so that could be something that could work out of the parents of Staten Island if they want to. But the school is not going to be involved in any private busing. But if you guys want to set it up, I could surely, you could surely try to identify people through the PA. But as I said, historically, it's been talked about, but it's never really gotten off the ground. Yeah, parent-teacher conferences. Do we do parent-teacher conferences at any point in the year? Yes. Off the top of my head, I think it's November 17th and 18th are the first parent-teacher conferences. You'll know all about that. Interesting about in-person online, the DOE has not discussed that yet as a policy, I do not believe. They were online last year. I don't know if they're going to be back in person. I do not believe that policy has been resolved. A question about policy about trying out for PSAL team. Can students try out for a team based on gender identity? So all students can try out for all teams, if that makes sense. I think that answers your question. Okay, speak about social emotional learning resources. Well, look, especially in light of COVID, I do think social emotional learning is very important. It's all sorts of skills how to navigate interpersonal relationships. It's skills on how to deal with your own emotions and your own identity, and it covers a whole array of things, but it basically I think helps students navigate the social aspect of their lives and school, but it has this nurturing component as well, both from colleagues, peers, and teachers, in the sense of helping to make all students belong and all students feel that we're here to support you in some ways. It deals, I think, very well with students who feel isolated, depressed, and helps surely, especially freshmen, find their way. And so, but it could be something small. It could be, somebody in class saying at the beginning of class, "How is everybody doing today?" And then seeing where that goes. So it could be something very small, but it could be something. We are having social emotional learning days where once a month in different subjects you will have a day of social emotional learning. It's not really a day. So for example, in October, let's say it's in science, right? So on a specific day in October, in all of your science classes, one day a month, you will have one day for that month, you will have a social emotional lesson. So your physics teacher might be teaching, not be teaching physics that day, but something along a social emotional learning line. Maybe the next month they will be in English, maybe the next month. So it'll be in social studies. So once a month, each student will get a social emotional learning lesson in one of their courses. And so it's very helpful to build relationships between students, to build relationships between students and teachers as well. All right. Are COVID vaccines required for all sports or just some? Just some. And so you have to see that. Going through. All right, I am moving quick as possible here. Our sports practice for 3 hours after school each day. Well, first of all, they're not always in season. And then secondly, there is, it definitely depends on what the sport is, but some sports do practice for a long time. And so when you're in season, you're sort of dedicating an ample amount of time to that. So that's something to think about when you're talking about schoolwork and athletics. All clubs worth the same amount of credit? Not exactly. Some clubs meet more often than others, and so they then have more credit. All right. Will there be museum field trips this year? Yes, especially like in living environment, for example, in the environmental sciences, they do trips. To be honest, we're not a school that does a whole lot of trips across the board anyway, but especially in the sciences, there are definitely trips. And to answer your question, I mean, this is teacher by teacher. They have autonomy to decide if they want to take such trips, but the DOE is allowing all sorts of museum and trips this year. Absolutely. Talking about medical forms, if you're talking about medical forms for PSAL, they do have to be submitted before you engage in practicing, before you engage in games and whatnot, if that's what you're asking. I forgot who was asking that. Is there opportunities for community service to help others or in the neighborhood? Absolutely. We have many students working in hospitals, working in shelters, working in places in the neighborhood and not in the neighborhood, and spread throughout New York City. We have ample community outreach and connections for you to engage in the community as far as service. Somebody's asking why is no swimming for boys. I don't want to know what you mean by that. We do have a swim team and a PE class. Are there options to accelerate past Algebra 1, even if you didn't take the Regents? I'm assuming you're saying that you took the course Algebra 1, but yet you didn't take the Regents. So I think that's what you're saying. But yes, then there's options there. But you can't, and you're asking also about language acceleration. You have to qualify by examination. I think we talked about that before, to be accelerated. For community service hours, the previous hours you've done count? No. So these are community service hours that you have to do in high school. Good question. Does being in a soccer team count as a period? So, not if you're talking about PE, not exactly. To qualify for PE, you have to be a year-round athlete. You have to be in 2 seasons of a sport. So you have to be in a fall sport and a spring sport. And so to qualify to get credit to opt out of PE. And that doesn't happen, that's not for freshmen. So it has to be that we know you're on the team, and so that kicks in maybe next year for you. Private busing for Queens, same thing. If you can get together through the PA and get a bunch of people in Queens who want to utilize a private bus, you can get that going, but the school can't do that for you. Yeah, somebody asked about swimming, and you're not going to be involuntary scheduled. If for some reason you're scheduled for swimming and you don't want swimming, you can get out of swimming and switch to another PE class. Yep. Another question about can you enter before the start time? Students can enter as early as 7:30, not before. Can students have outdoor lunch? So it's something we've surely kicked around. It creates some difficulties. To get students back in the building creates a difficulty. We have a lot of students, they'd all have to swipe in. To be honest, I don't have the staff to monitor the lunchroom, the swiping in the lunchroom, and to monitor the doors for students who decide to go out to swipe in as well. It just offers lots of logistical issues. So that's the biggest thing that prohibits us from doing outdoor lunch. But there's solely other considerations. Can you start music sophomore year? Surely, if you have a background and you don't want to do it freshman year, but then again, sophomore year after you hit your stride as a student, sure. There's not a bathroom in the cafeteria was the question, but there's a bathroom right outside the cafeteria. Asking about IDs required for lunch. Yes, you do swipe in. You are going to get your freshman IDs on the first day. No, students cannot go out for lunch no matter what grade they are. Do you offer halal and kosher lunch options? Yes, we do. Lunch is provided. You don't pay for lunch. MetroCard's the first day. If a student enters school, can they come back in for clubs after? Yeah, so if you have a 1 through 9 schedule and clubs start after 10 and you have 40 minutes of nothing to do, you could go in the auditorium, you can go in the library, but you could also leave the building and come back in. So I'm talking about taking Algebra 1 in 8th grade, but you didn't take the Regents. Do you have to take Algebra 1 again? No, you have credit for the course, but you are going to have to take the Regents. How often does advisory meet? Advisory meets once per week. It's split between, it doesn't make your day longer. So you either have on a day a PE class, a lab, or advisory. So it's like one period is utilized throughout the week, if that makes sense. Hamilton, you got something brewing in the texting that you need to tell from Mary or something?
No, I was actually, do you think we can start to wrap up or wind down?
Oh, I'm never going to stop. Yeah, you're getting tired?
The question is still coming thick. And
I'm right now when I'm rolling through the questions, I mean, I don't know how much more there are, and I don't want to like start scrolling up, but I'm about 45 minutes behind the questions. I'm catching up. Yeah. No, I was only saying that I didn't mean that I was going to look for an opportunity to get a glass of water or something, but I'm going to keep going a little bit, and then maybe I'll go run a glass of water. Does the school have metal detectors that kids have to pass through daily? No, we do not. Do we have to fill out the lunch application again? No, not if you filled it out with us already, I believe. When will the construction of the building be done? That is a tough question. I don't really know the answer to it. I will say that they work every single day on that. In full disclosure, they're rebuilding the top 3.5 feet of the building, or known as the parapet. 100 years of, well, I guess 90 years for the building itself, of the elements pounding on it. The top of the building has some integrity issues, and it's beyond repointing. It needs to be rebuilt. So they're doing that, and so it might be a while. It might be a while. So the freshmen on the first day, they'll be dismissed. It depends on their actual schedule. So they could be dismissed as, I don't know the schedule off the top of my head, but they could be dismissed as late as 3:20, but possibly earlier than that on the first day, depending on when their day ends, according to their schedule. All right, what if the student arrives really early, and can you stay inside the school, especially when the weather's not great? We open at 7:30, so you cannot, weather, no weather, you can't come into the school before 7:30. So just plan on that when they're coming into the building. Somebody asked about response plan for active shooter. We have an active shooter protocol. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but we have an active shooter protocol, and people are in the building are trained as to what to do. If there is a lockdown of the building because there is an active shooter, you will be alerted very quickly, and then be provided updates and especially when the lockdown is lifted. But we'll give you updates and surely tell you when we're in lockdown. The question is about if you took U.S. history last year and you got a waiver, would you need to take it again? No, if you got a waiver in 8th grade for the U.S. history regents because you took the class, you do not need to take it again. Oh, Susie, I see that you're responding in the Q&A. They can't see what you write. So Susie talked about, she works for us and she's our webmaster. She talks about checking the news and announcements on the website for any BTHS and DOE email accounts, who to contact, schedules, where to enter the building, and all this information is on the website. Does working at church count as community work? Absolutely. If a regents is waived, what does that mean? Does it mean that students pass through the regents? Yes, you're given the equivalency of surely a passing grade, yes. What famous major is the school known for? Is that like a trivia question? And so there are a number of majors that the school is known for. We are the Brooklyn Tech Engineers, and so I would say that most notably we're known for our engineering majors, although, you know, the school started, there were like 5 engineering majors and then college prep, which in college prep was like half the school. And it was like a liberal arts-based major, which was sort of create your own major, and then all the other ones were engineering. I mean, I'm going back into the original majors of the school many, many years ago. Now we have 18 majors, and we got something for everybody. And so, I mean, it's a difference of what majors is the school known for? I mean, I guess engineering, but what are the most popular is another question. And currently, some of the most popular majors are actually biological sciences. Computer science is probably our most popular major. It's called software engineering. The law major is very popular. So I think there's a, you know, I don't know, what we're known for, I think, is different depending on who you ask. How many semesters are there? There are 2. And do kids change classes for each? Not normally. You mostly are going to keep your same teachers fall to spring. There are some classes that are single semester classes later on, like you'll take health only for 1 semester in sophomore year. But in freshman year, you're not likely to change any teachers. And in most of your class throughout Brooklyn Tech, you'll have the same teacher for the whole year. Although there are separate, distinct semesters that have autonomous grades. Yeah. What happens to students that don't get accepted in the major they choose? So I have a policy of trying to get every student, if we can, the major of their choice. Since I put this policy in, usually north of 95% of students get their first choice of their major. So you'll probably get your first choice. If not, you might get your second or your third choice. I don't think last year anyone went past their third choice. Is there supervised lunch space for students who might need to eat somewhere quieter and less crowded? No, everybody eats in the lunchroom, and that is supervised. Teachers will probably let you eat in class as well, depending on the teacher, but most likely. And is there opportunities for students who need a quick snack to have a snack in between class? Absolutely. So we sell things in vending machines, but also you can, of course, bring your own things and have snacks in between class. Not a problem whatsoever. Is all homework submitted online? Some is, some isn't. I would say more not submit online than submit online. Somebody's asking, can we get minutes to this meeting so we don't miss any information? I think that ship has sailed. So I don't know. I mean, Hamilton, are you taking notes on everything I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know.
One thing I can say, David, is that with our PA meetings, we do record them.
Yeah.
Do also run a YouTube channel as well. So if that's easier for people to access, so that'll, more to come on that.
Yeah, yeah. And I will, and to piggyback on that, there's nothing more valuable, I think, as far as when the semester moves on and the year begins for a parent as coming to a PA meeting. It is very important. I will say this. I mean, you might hate me just going and rambling on and answering questions, but I come to every PA meeting and I answer every question under the sun. It's a large school. There's a lot of students in the school. You don't really get so much access to me in that regard as you do at a PA meeting. I mean, I'm there for the duration. You have a question, you ask it. If it's a question just for your kid, you could pull me aside and we could talk about it. It gives you a great amount of access that honestly, during the day doesn't look. If you need to make an appointment with me and talk, we can make an appointment and talk. That's not what I'm talking about. But it does give you this level of access and information that you don't get live like that in any other forum. So I really implore you to come to PA meetings. They're just once a month and they're chock full of unbelievable information, and so that you could get from other parents and from adults in the building. And like, I know the deal. I have a daughter that's a freshman in college. Like, our kids don't always talk to us about everything under the sun, right? And so, or maybe they don't talk to us at all. And so, these are ways to find out information beyond, what did my kid get in the last math exam? And so you really should come and participate in the PA. Very important. How late can students stay in the school? Good question. Usually we try to wrap it up 5:30. Some teams go later than that, but the library's shut down by 5 o'clock. So not all hours. Do we have a study abroad program? No. The DOE does not really allow a study abroad program in the sense of, for all sorts of liability issues. We're not, trusting any, your child to stay in somebody else's house and all sorts of things. So although the DOE does allow students from other countries to come here, we don't allow students to go elsewhere through the DOE. If you do something on your own, you do something on your own, right? And if you remove your child from Brooklyn Tech for a period of time to do a study abroad that you facilitated, all well and good. But the DOE is not going to facilitate that for you. Will 2 or 3 hours of homework start right away? It very well might. It very well might. All right. Yeah, once again about phones. You're really not allowed to have them in class. You could have them, you could have phones, but in class, unless somehow you're doing some work for class, if your teacher's like, hey, research this or whatever, that's a different story. But if you're just like pulling out your phone to text or whatnot, that is a big no-no. And you can have your phone taken away. And if your phone is taken away, we're only giving it back if a parent comes in to pick up the phone. So, so I would encourage the phone classes are not for phones, although you can have it in your bag and you could use it at lunch and in between classes and in the hallways and whatnot. It's not something for class, unless the teacher encourages you to use it in class. Do students wear masks? So far, if we go, a vast majority of students wore masks even at the end of last year. I mean, I can't answer that question for how it's going to be on the first day of school. And so I really don't know the answer to that question. But a vast majority of our students wore masks last year. Might that change? I couldn't tell you. That's an individual choice for students and families to make. Are there free prep courses for ACT and SAT? Not really. You could get some of that through tutoring, but it's not exactly targeted to ACT and SAT. So we don't really provide free prep courses. Yeah. What happens if a student doesn't know which major to choose? This is the end of sophomore year. Don't worry about majors yet. They'll all figure it out. We have a major open house. They see representatives, kids, all the teachers in each major. They see presentations. A ton of information gets thrown at them, so to them to make an informed choice. But once again, look at what age they are. They're sophomores, 14 years old, whatever. They're not making like a choice of what, the exact direction my life is going to go, for the rest of my life. So it's not super high stakes, I don't think. How many times can you use your Metro card per day? I think the maximum you could use is actually 3 times. So 3 times you could use it per day. If a student's finished, can they leave? I answered that. Is tutoring mandatory? Absolutely not. Is it available for all students? Yes, but is it mandatory? Absolutely not. Do students get mixed in with upperclassmen in classes? Not normally. There is a rare occasion where a student is hyper-accelerated in a particular course, but not normally. And surely not like you're not going to have a PE in your PE class. It's going to be all freshmen, all sophomores, or all juniors, right? So they're not mixed up in really any regard. Somebody's asking what Shakespeare novel is done in freshman year. Our teachers do have autonomy to choose the books that they use in class. So you're not going to get, depending on what teacher you have, is really what novels are going to be used. And so there's not like all freshmen do this book. It doesn't work like that. Somebody asked, how do schedules work? I don't know exactly what you mean by that. You just follow the schedule. It tells you periods and what class you have, and you follow the schedule according to the bell schedule. Do I need to get a certain Regis score in algebra? I mean, if you took the course, if you got a passing Regents score, you're good. So you don't have to have a certain score. Who gets to use elevators? Staff use elevators, students use elevators. The students' elevators are all express. They go from like the first floor all the way up to 7, and then you can walk down if you need to. But students get to use elevators. But if you're on 3, you're going to have to go down to 1 to use the elevator to go up if you wanted to use the elevator. And these are the kind of scenarios is what makes students late to class if they go that route. Question is, what have you already taken geometry? So I don't know how you've taken geometry and algebra. I don't know how you would take both of those. So yeah, you'd have to explain to me the circumstance. I don't like how you took algebra and geometry. I guess it's possible in the same year, but if you do have credit for both in 8th grade, seventh grade doesn't count. So if you have credit for both somehow in 8th grade, you will move on to algebra 2. How do we check attendance for tutoring classes if they don't sign up? We don't. And so I have teachers taking attendance when students come into tutoring. So if you need to verify if your child did attend tutoring, you can. But other than that, you're not going to be able to see it. Like if you're concerned if they went or not, or if they're lying to you, or if they say they went to tutoring, they really went somewhere else, we could verify that. So we simply have a sign-in sheet for tutoring. What if your child tests positive for COVID? Will teachers provide a take-home package of work? Does the high school address this? Yeah, we provide work. It's not a take-home package. I mean, we're assuming that you have COVID and you're just not coming back in. So there will be, through Google Classroom, work provided for you to keep pace with the course. Can I allow my child to carry pepper spray for security purposes on public transportation, or will the school not allow that? That's an interesting question. Pepper spray is not legal, and so no. And so how do I say this? So it is not legal to be carried. We don't have metal detectors, but you will, if you are found with pepper spray for some reason, there will be disciplinary action. It's not, students are not allowed to carry pepper spray. Are students allowed to be excused from specific PE tests if they have asthma? Absolutely. If you need some sort of accommodation or something reasonable that you can't participate in, absolutely, teachers will be sensitive to that. Does every student take a language freshman year? Absolutely. How many times a week do you have a language class? Every single day. People questions on about IEPs and DOE laptops, whatever is needed in your IEP, we will fulfill that accommodation. Absolutely. So if it says that you need in your IEP that you have to have assistive technology such as a laptop, we will provide. I think people came in later asking still question about AP Bio. There's about 100 spots, more than 3 times the amount of that students asked for. If you're on a PSL team, you can get out of physical education or get credit for physical education as long as you're in 2 seasons of a sport, 2 different sports over 2 different seasons. When will students who missed orientation get a tour of the school? Well, I don't know if they got a tour of the school per se. They ran around the school in the Amazing Race and whatnot, but there's not usually the first day of advisory is a tour of the building. So all students are going to get likely another tour of the building anyway. Do parents need to be vaccinated to enter the school? Good question. Formally, that has been the case. I believe that policy is going to shift in that regard. Can you take AP Bio in a leadership class? Is that too much? I don't think it's too much, but you have to be able to fit it all. But if you're not taking music, you should be able to fit that. Yes, textbooks will be provided. Some of them will be online. Some of them will be actual physical books. I think I talked about cell phone policy. Phones are allowed in the hallways. Can students access outdoor spaces on campus during the school day? What campus? We don't have one of those. So we don't have any outdoor spaces. On the roof or the courtyard. Is that open nowadays? No, because they're doing all that work on the roof. So now no one can access the roof like we have in the past. All right, I'm flying through. Schedules, you're going to get them on the first day in prefect. Still questions about that. Yeah.
Mary says that yes, still vaccinated parents for now.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that clarity. I'm feeling like they're going to shift that policy, but thank you for that for now. Yep. Why are there no lockers? There are lockers. I did say that. Okay, maybe you missed that. There are lockers in the classroom. Most freshmen will be able to get lockers. Why is there no homeroom? We do have advisory. We don't really have a need for a homeroom. We take attendance in other ways. We deliver during third period. It's extended a little bit to communicate daily announcements to all the students. We don't really need a homeroom. I mean, that's what a homeroom is for daily announcements. We've encapsulated that into third period, so we don't really need a homeroom. Do you have to take physics, or science? Absolutely. Incoming sophomore, can the child take AP physics in 10th grade? No, not likely. You need to take chem first.
David?
Yeah.
Mary's commenting they've been working on the courtyard.
Wishful thinking, Mary. Yeah. And even if the courtyard you're talking about, we have a small courtyard in the interior of the building. Even if it's done, there are no plans for. I'm not going to let 6,000 students hang out in the courtyard, but this courtyard it's like the size of like 3 classrooms outdoors in the center of the building. Okay, somebody asked, why is everything so expensive? I don't know if you mean that in general. I don't know if that's a political question. I don't know what, I don't know. Why is everything so expensive? I don't know what you're referring to. Is the GPA on the report card weighted or unweighted? It is, it's weighted if you, for classes that are weighted. We're talking about AP class. More about letting kids they go out for lunch, submitting 504s. That's done through we have a new AP of special education, Mr. Jacob Brodsky, who will be handling all 504s, all IEPs. Okay, 2 questions. What are free periods? Free periods are when you have no class. You might have a free period. You can go to the lunchroom or to the auditorium or to the library. Is there a place you could eat outside during lunch? No. How do parents get involved in the PA? Hamilton.
I had to unmute myself.
That's my...
Anytime. We have a PA website. Come join us. My DMs are open. We'll be having our first PA meeting. We're not sure if it's going to be Zoom on-site or hybrid, but we're thinking on-site. So more to come on that. But there are many ways the PA you can be involved with the PA, and we would love to have you.
Thank you for that, Hamilton. And so somebody asked about the SLT. SLT are parent positions are elected. We have elected parent positions for this current year, 22-23. You could run at the end of the year for positions for the following year. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't come to SLT. Whether it's virtual or in person, it's an open meeting. Anyone can attend, but members who come who are not on SLT, actually, they can't comment, they can't speak, but they can attend as observers. People asking about when do kids choose a program. So we have program selection for students for sophomore year. That's going to happen in April for the following year. If my child takes AP biology, will they still take physics? Absolutely. You'll take physics junior year. How do I know if my child's middle school transcript and Regents scores were shared with Brooklyn Tech? Best to follow up with the guidance counselor to verify that. If you don't get into a team, can you try out again next year? Absolutely. 2 to 3 hours of homework all 4 years. What is the philosophy behind homework? Oh, that's you'd have to spend a lot more time than we have right here. But I will say this, that homework is very individualized based on teachers. There are some teachers that homework is not by my decree, homework is not mandatory. And I'm not pushing the blame or the philosophy on teachers. There is just a lot. One of the beauties of teaching at our school is there is a lot of autonomy in these regards, and in some curriculum choices and day-to-day lessons, surely. And so that you might find that you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. My kid only has an hour worth of homework a night. So, it's very different. It's very different based on the classes that you take and the teachers that you get. All right. If a student takes fencing, I assume you're talking about the team. Is there storage for the gear in the school? Yeah, there is. Getting there. I'm getting there. Questions keep coming. Why do students have to buy SGO stickers? So the amount that they spend on an SGO sticker is an amount that's paid for 4 years, and this is really all of our SGO funds. So when I give money to clubs, senior activities, all sorts of things, this is what we use for the 4 years. I think you will see in all the activities that are provided that I'd like to think you'll feel that you got your money's worth. It's a one-time fee that you pay as a freshman that lasts you all 4 years. It's a student activity fee, so that we can do all the things that we do for students. All right, you'll find out about everything about SGO stickers. We'll surely let you know. Will the parents be invited to school to meet with the teachers after the school start? No, not just, well, on parent-teacher conferences, the November 17th and 18th, we do not have like an open school night beyond that. There is another one, parent-teacher conferences in the spring as well. If a Monday is a holiday, for example, day 1 or day 6 would be skipped. Yeah, they're skipped. That is true, Andy. They are skipped. If we find that a lot of 1s or a lot of 2s or like a lot of some number has been skipped disproportionately to others, we start fixing it as the semester wears on. Like we might throw an extra day in there we might convert some days to make it equal out. What's the library policy? You're allowed to check out books and take them home? Absolutely. Can kids only use a lock from the SGO store? Yes, because that way, when your child forgets their combination, we have on record their combination, so we can tell them when they forget. That comes in more often than you think. So, yeah. If my son got into the soccer team and there's practice every day after school, when can he participate in clubs? You probably can't, right? And so, but you do get credit for being on a team. So that it's club team credit, work sort of synonymously. What class do you take if you pass the ELA Regents? Now that's a new one, but you would take the same English, but you just wouldn't take the Regents when the kids take the Regents. Is there cheerleading? That is a great question. Yes, cheerleading is a big part of Brooklyn Tech life, and there is a PSAL stunt team that I don't know. I think the last 4 out of 5 years we won the city championship. Our cheerleading / stunt squad is incredible, incredible. Like the type of cheerleading that you see like on ESPN competition-wise stuff. Unbelievably incredible.
David?
Yeah, go for
I
it.
just got a comment from our friend Mary saying that all the SGO sticker and clubs info went out in her student life email that she sent out today.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was all in Mary's email.
All right. Way to Mary to advertise her email, and then, but apparently it went out today. Awesome. First day arrival, not 8:05, correct. 8:15. We have a special schedule. I'll send it out, but it's going to be 8:15 for freshmen, not 8:05. How do we get elevator passes? You don't need an elevator pass. It goes from 1 to 7. There are student elevators. You don't need a pass for it. If you have, like you're on crutches and you need a medical pass, you will go to Miss Iacona, who is the head of health and safety, to get such a pass. If my kid has allergies, do I leave his medication at the nurse? Depending on what you're talking about, yes. Is there a lifeguarding program at Brooklyn Tech? No. For students who haven't taken any regents, how many regents do you have to take freshman year? You're likely to take, if I'm reading into this right, you're likely to take algebra and nothing else. Oh, and a science, I'm sorry, living environment or physics. Yeah. Is there heat in classrooms? Yes, there is ample heat in classrooms as well. Will parent-teacher conferences be held via Zoom? That has not been clarified by the DOE. In the last couple of years, it has been over Zoom. We're hoping that they'll be in person again. The DOE has not put out guidance on that as yet. Hamilton, somebody wants you to clarify your comment, controversial comment from Mary. Did he say that students will need COVID vaccinations and meningitis vaccinations? I thought COVID vaccinations were optional.
Evidently, they're not optional, according to Mary, but you do have to get a meningitis vaccine. You have till your senior year for your senior year. And I think she may have just texted me.
Yeah.
Something about locks have to be purchased at the SGO store.
Yeah. But I think we're mixing up two things. So for students, COVID vaccinations are not mandatory. For adults who want to enter the building, they are.
Okay, that wasn't clear. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
I'll get back to you if she texts me.
All right. Is there a free first period? I don't know what you mean by that one. You might have a first period, you might not. If you don't have a first period class, and you have a second period class, you don't come in every day for first period. You just come in afterwards. Can students use bulletproof backpacks? I don't know what they look like. What do bulletproof backpacks look like? I think so. I mean, we don't have metal detectors. I would imagine there's some metal on this said bulletproof backpack. I think it should be okay. That's a first for that. I don't really truly know the answer to that. I don't see why it would not be okay. All right. All right. Can students in the class, teacher to teacher? Yeah, I would, maybe the first time you're going to do it, ask the teacher if it's okay. Most teachers will have no problem with students eating in class. Is there actually 10 periods each day? Yes, but it's not likely that your child has all 10 periods. They probably have a 2 to 9 schedule, a 2 to 10 schedule, a 1 to 9 schedule. It's not very likely you have a 1 to 10 schedule. You'd have to have AP Bio and music, I think, to make that happen. I think that's the only way that can happen. Do we have detention? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Hopefully we won't have to have a conversation about your child needing to go in detention, but there is a possibility based on a disciplinary infraction that you get detention.
Okay, David, so Mary just got back to me. COVID vaccines are optional.
Yeah, got
They
it.
are
Got it.
optional. Okay, so
Yeah.
that was my mistranslation. Sorry
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
fine. Yep. Um, DK is asking me, for students, is a Mac or Windows, which one's better? Now you're asking like my preference. Like this is like a Rolling Stones or Beatles question. I don't know. I mean, it's depending on what you like. I use a Mac. I like a Mac. I think Hamilton's been using a Mac, right? And so you like a Mac.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I think it's just based on your preference. You know, in your if a teacher has a preference for a particular type of course, in other words, if you're in an engineering major in the labs, that we have Macs or PCs, depending on what the teacher thinks is better for the type of course that they're teaching, right? So you're doing like Adobe, you're cutting up like video in like Final Cut Pro or something. Those teachers choose to do that on Mac machines. Yeah. Does every student in each grade have lunch at the same time? No. The lunch periods I talked about are completely mixed. So we talked about classes are not mixed, but lunch is. Anytime you have lunch, there will be freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors all in the lunchroom at the same time. What site is going to be used for, let's say, dropping classes? I'm going to send you that module, and it's going to be basically a glorified Google form that you're going to fill out. But we will send that to you. I mean, I think a theme of some of these things is you got to check your email, like parents, students alike. We send daily announcements. Sometimes you feel like the daily announcements are so robust and have so much stuff in them, you know, you want to skim them or whatever, but do not unsubscribe to these things. These forums give you all the information you could possibly ever ask for. So do check your email. I'm going to send out, you know, once school starts, you really need to check your email. You know, parents, I'm sending it to your own email. Students, we're going to give you those BTHS. You got to check them. You got to check the emails. We give out a lot of information. You're going to be held accountable for knowing that information, for filling out forms. You missed drop period the first 2 days of school because you didn't get the form. You missed drop period. That's it, right? And so you have to get used to checking your email for these things, especially students, daily, multiple times a day. Yep. Girls badminton team, we got it.
David?
Yeah.
This is, I think, passed on by Mary from Lisa Lacano.
Okay.
For medications, students must submit a form along with an EPI pin or whatever to the school nurse.
Yep.
The instructions are pretty clear on the form. There is also a section on the form for parents to grant permission to allow independent students to self-medicate. So signed form means students can have Advil in a bag.
Got it. Got it. All right. Do I really give out chips to the first 20 students that talk to you? Well, I do. I have the snacks with the principal thing that happens every single week. It's not the first 20 students. Every week I talk with 20 students, and yeah, they get snacks. And so, but we usually hang out and we talk about all sorts of things. They get to know me, I get to know them. It's a forum for me to get to know, you know, more students. But for students, especially freshmen, to get more of a lay of the land and help feel connected to the school. And so we learn a lot about each other. It's also a forum that I can't tell you how many times in snacks with the principal, students met in that forum for the first time, and then they're friends for 4 years, right? So yes, so every week I do give snacks to 20 students, and we sit and we talk, right? So I put up a sign up, and they sign up. Usually when I put a sign up, like in the first week, I'm like booked until like Christmas, you know, and so yeah, so I do that every single week. Oh, so somebody's was commenting about that that our clothing is expensive. I think they're saying the t-shirts are $10. I think that's pretty good. Gym pants are like $20, and sweatshirts are like $25. Uh, I think that's okay. I don't know. Does the school have school paper? I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean by that. Okay. So I mentioned switching from algebra geometry with a form. So I want to back up there. If you have credit for algebra and you're given it by mistake, you go to you would fill out the Google form to go to geometry. But I don't think we made a mistake unless it comes on your transcript later on. But yes, there's an air drop form. Can freshmen learn sports in general, PE, enough to be able to join a team with tryouts if they have no athletic experience right now? To be honest, it depends obviously on their athletic ability, but it also depends on the sport. Some sports are easier to get in than others, based on demand. So it really depends on what sport you're talking about. Is there a JV baseball team? Interesting, sore subject a little bit. We don't currently have a JV baseball team. I do want a JV baseball team. Right now, the DOE is not really allowing us to add any more teams. We have more teams than any school in the city. And so right now, that they're not really allowing us to add teams, but I do want to add a JV baseball team. We have a lot of students interested in baseball, and too many students in varsity, to be honest with you, and everybody can't get on the field. So a JV team would be very helpful. All right, moving along, moving along, moving along. What is the best advice you would give our kids prior to next Thursday? I mean, I think the school is an unbelievably special place, and I think you're going to find that in this vast school that has so many students and so many offerings that it's the place for you. I mean, what makes our school special? There's three things that make our school special. I don't even know that I'm already jumping the shark on giving kids advice, but our first and foremost, our students, and the type of students that they are, and then our teachers. Our students attract some great teachers, and then ultimately also our facilities, which, look, I mean, you look at a robotics lab that no one has a lab like that, and then you understand how I'm able to get this awesome robotics teacher to teach in there, and then you understand how students, that look in their eye when they're building a robot. There's things that they can never do in any other place, and so my best advice would be take advantage of our school. We have all these opportunities that you can't get anywhere else. Get into those opportunities, be involved, get into some of these great classes, which you will in your majors and whatnot, but be involved in school. I mean, you don't want to turn back and say, oh, I went to this school and there were all these things and I didn't get involved in them. There are so many things to get involved in to help you reach your true potential. Take advantage of that. I mean, you'll reflect what you probably already know, and you'll talk to other kids and other parents in other schools. There's so many opportunities. I can't even name them all that you can't get anywhere else in the city, even in other specialized high schools, to be honest with you. Yeah, so I think you're fortunate in that regard, and so take advantage of it. All right. Will kids be able to see a couple of weeks ahead of homework in their certain days and they're buried with stuff after school? Some teachers give the entire homework assignments for the entire year on the first day. Some don't, because they don't want kids trying to get too far ahead. And so they do that purposely by design. But you will able to see homeworks in ample time. We don't really want students getting ahead though. I think that it's pretty typical across the curriculum and cross subjects. When will students know if they got an AP Bio when they get their schedule? All right, I'm moving along. Lots of repeat. Are there international trips? Supposedly this year, international trips are going to be back on again. And I did read some policy around that, and I will say that we have great international trips every single year. It's a really cool aspect. Usually, international trips are limited to seniors just because of demand. But yeah. So not likely freshmen will be going on international trips, but they are back. Is the Key Club only active during the summer? Oh, absolutely not. Our Key Club is one of our largest clubs, very active club during the year. I'm catching up. I'm still only 40 minutes behind. Are there restrooms on every floor? Yes. Are students allowed to order food from the outside? No. So we are not going to find your child and let them know that there's a delivery person with food for them at the front door. No. Is there a microwave oven in the cafeteria? No. Yes, but only to be used by food services staff, not for students to use. What if a child tests positive COVID? Will they still report? No. If you test positive for COVID, you're not going to come to school. We're going to send out all the, how long you need to stay out and whatnot. Can you make up work via email? Yes, but also, you're sick. And so you could give in the makeup work when you come back and work that out after you come back. All right. All right. Mary, I know you typed in the whole dress code policy a while ago. I can't publish it because then it takes me to the beginning of all the questions. And at this point, it would take me too long to get back to the place. All right, just going through a lot of repeat questions. Can you have a double major? No. You wouldn't be able to fit all the class in a day. Majors encapsulate 2 classes in your junior year and 3 classes in your senior year. You can't double major and have 6 classes in your senior year on top of all your state mandated courses. You just don't have time to do that. You took our science. Middle school, do you get credit for the course? Sure. How will it help them? You get credit for the course, not really going to help that much. You're still going to take living environment, chemistry, physics with us. Do we have time for breakfast? Sure. Come in at 7:30, have breakfast. If you have no first period, come at 8 o'clock, have breakfast. Absolutely. All right. How much experience is recommended joining a PSAL team? I can't answer that question. I think it varies. If you want to play the sport, you play the sport. You could truly learn along the way. As I said, more different sports are harder than others to get in based on demand. Breakfast is available at the school. Is there a parent WeChat group? Hamilton, you know about that?
There is a parent Facebook group, which is very active. I would encourage everyone who are Facebook members to join. There is a tremendous amount of discussion and information passed along on that site.
Thank you. If a child gets sick, how much time of absence can they get? There's no number to that. You're sick, you stay home, we work it out. It's not like you have an absence bank that you can't use anymore or whatever. You're sick, you're sick. What if a student is late because of the subway? They just, they get a late, you can get a note from your parents saying that you were late. You can get something from the MTA that says you were late if you really want to. Just explain it. I will say that this is an issue of respect in some sense, right? So the idea is, I want to be in your class, teacher, X or whatever. I really want to be in your class, and I came in late. And so I respect you and your class enough to tell you that I'm normally here, but there is some drastic reason that I'm late. Here's the reason, right? I would not come in as a student just late and just not mention why you're late, And so, so I think it's like a respect issue, and I think a teacher would appreciate hearing that.
David.
Yeah.
From Mary, I want to clarify something.
I'm going to get some water. Go, clarify.
She has just texted me that there is a WeChat group for incoming parents of students. That's a WeChat group. You can find it on the Brooklyn Technical High School Parents Facebook group, but these are not official Brooklyn Tech sites, so that's something we should underscore. Not official Brooklyn Tech sites. We can't send info on theme, but there is a WeChat group that is connected to the Facebook group. And on that note, I have about 0.5% battery left on my laptop, so I'm going to need to sign off.
Okay.
But I'll be in touch with you directly soon. And welcome to Tech, folks. You're going to have fun.
Thanks so much, Hamilton. I really appreciate you being here with us. Okay. To Tech have honors class and how they get in? Not really. We just have AP classes, so it's either you step up to AP or you don't. That's really where we're at. My child says elevator accommodations. Where do I provide that? You just give us the information. Once again, BW2 is the Health and Safety Office, spearheaded by Miss Lisa Iacona. She'll get you an elevator pass, no problem. People are asking about which app are we going to use. We're likely going to use a DOE's built-in interface for a grading platform. Somebody's saying that pepper spray is legal to own and carry. Whether you allow it in the school is another question altogether. I guess what I meant by that is it's not a Brooklyn Tech policy nor a Principal Newman policy. It's a DOE policy that pepper spray is not allowed in any schools. So yeah. You will see, and on that note, you will receive. You will see the disciplinary infraction codes and all things I guess you can't do and what the ramifications for those set up by the DOE. And so it will show you as one of those things as something that's not allowed to be carried. Somebody was talking about English only being 2 days a week. So English is every course that we give besides PE meets technically every single day or 5 periods a week. So so English, the subject, it meets every other day, but for a double period. So over the 10-day cycle, right, it will meet 10 times or 10 periods, if you're catching my drift, right? We just double it up with DDP so that people can have a more enriching experience in this cluster model, and DDP surely that it's longer than 41 minutes works out. to their advantage. It's a type of, project-based class that you want to be in class a little bit longer. So there's still the same number of periods in the 10-day cycle for English and all the same courses, but English for freshmen is doubled up. Can you still join SLT? No, you cannot join as a voting, participating member. Elections, as I said, are in the end of the year. Wait, I take that back. Hamilton's going to kill me that I say that. That's not true. There's a spot reserved for a freshman parent, I believe. So I hold out for information on that. I'm going to take that back. So I have no control of what parents go. That's run by the PA. If you're not on a team, can you attend practice? No, you cannot. Is there safe storage for large musical instruments that won't fit in lockers? Absolutely. We encourage students at the beginning of the day, if they have a large musical instrument, to go right up to the music room and leave it there at the beginning of their day so it's there for them, and then pick it up at the end. Do large instruments have to be rented or purchased outside school? Nah, not likely. The only time that really happens is if you prefer to not use ours. But we do have instruments for students, large instruments for students to take home that are ours. So you do not have to rent or buy an instrument. Some people rent or buy because they want their own, but that is not necessary. Are there digital versions of textbooks? Most of our textbooks are digital. My husband has many drones he uses for his work. Can we donate to the school? Yes. Also, can we donate books? Yes. That would be great, especially the drones. I think of that really, really cool. So we have various clubs that do drone flying. So I think that would be cool. Absolutely. Somebody says, I sent an email regarding piloting AP biology for freshmen who've passed the living environment regions. The email states, instead of getting programmed for regions physics, you'll be programmed for double period AP bio. Can I explain that? So if you've already taken living environment in 8th grade, you get put in physics freshman year. But in this pilot program, if you take AP biology, you're not going to take physics until junior year. That's it. What is the mask policy? It's an individual policy. You determine if you want to wear a mask or not. How many free periods on a daily basis? Some kids have 1, some kids have 2, some kids have none. So it's just a matter of how your schedule laid out. In a perfect world, if you have a 1 to 8, we don't give you any free periods, and your free period is 9 and 10. You go home early. But it doesn't always work out that way. It just doesn't always shake out that way based on the classes that you need. I might not have, the classes just might only meet on certain periods, and it causes a free period in the middle of the day that we can't squash. And so you got to hang out. Oh, somebody said the Beatles versus Stones. Good. That's a good argument. We can have that one. The basketball hoops have nets. Yeah, sure. Of course. People asking, when am I going to stop this thing? I'm not going to stop until I get all the questions done. Keep saying my way. I got nothing better to do. Okay, so there is, somebody did elaborate on the questions of and I didn't need to be dismissive when I said, a t-shirt's $10 and this and that. If you have, we require you to have a gym uniform. If you have exceptional problems being able to purchase that gym uniform, you can let us know. We'll figure it out for you. All right. So that's not, So I was not trying to be dismissive of that whatsoever. I thought people were commenting that the prices that we have are too high. I think they're reasonable, but that has nothing to do with, your own ability to pay for them or not, regardless of what price they're at. Do you get to choose your seat in class? Likely not, depending on teacher, but most likely not. Most teachers just put you alphabetically because it's easier to take attendance, to be honest. And then it helps them get to know your name quicker. You're in the back and you need to be in the front. You have, you can't see so well, whatever it is. You just tell the teacher, they'll move you, not a problem. Do I have any other AP classes like computer science? We have other computer science classes. We have computer science principles AP, but we also have computer science A. We have plenty of AP classes, and so we have the largest AP program in the world. And so we got a lot. We got a lot there. What percentage is homework bearing on grades? It does depend on the course, not on the teacher. But so, for example, all of social studies or all of math or all of science will have the same exact percentage of grading policy that is fixed across subjects, departments actually. And so, so it is different. Some departments have, they will be transparent about the percentages, but some departments are different than others. The freshmen get an invitation to AP World History second semester. So it's not second semester, you get an AP World, it's second year, it's sophomore year. You're gonna have to take pre-AP for all of freshman year, and then you choose in April for the following September if you want to be in AP World, AP Euro, or just go to regular World History. Can students record the lesson? I would ask the teacher first on that. If you just start recording them, I think they'll probably freak out. So, yeah, I would definitely ask a teacher if that is okay. I can imagine most teachers are going to say no, but you never know. What is a policy governing incompletes or make-up exams? You're sick, you miss an exam, you come back, you give the note, this is why I was sick. You arrange with the teacher to make up the exam. That's it. So you will be given an opportunity to make up exam or any missed homework. Absolutely. How to join the parent Facebook group? I think you just ask, you search on Facebook for the group, you ask to be a member. I'm not a member, so I don't even know. It is a private group. And so I imagine they ask some sort of criteria to verify that you're a parent, and they let you in. But I don't moderate it. I'm not on it. So you could, talk about me behind my back and I won't find out. All right, I'm getting there. Now I'm like 15 minutes behind the questions. I am getting there. What is the English capstone? So there is, we were actually involved in the very beginning of this pilot program. It is an AP, two AP courses, AP Seminar and then AP Research. Seminar is a really great like research 101 class, but it is an AP class. And then you could move on to AP Research, where you're getting, college level credit for not taking like what we call a bubble exam, but like literally handing in like a paper of sorts, like a term paper that is graded by the College Board. So, the people that grade for the College Board. So there are two AP classes and seminar you could take in your sophomore year. Great classes. No metal detectors again. Can students bring an alarm keychain? I think that's okay. But if that alarm goes off in the middle of class or something, I think you can freak a lot of people out. But yeah, on the surface, it's okay. There is a lost and found. It is located in the basement. Do we have a set time to eat breakfast morning? No, breakfast kind of runs right up until lunch, and so depending on your schedule, breakfast just runs. And you come in at 7:30, you get breakfast. You come in at 8 o'clock, you get breakfast. If you run up, at 8:30 for an 8:45 class, you can get breakfast. If you don't have class till 9:30, you can get breakfast at 9 o'clock. But I will say this, I mean, you could grab some breakfast and go, but it is a big no-no to go to breakfast when you're supposed to be in class. I think you can understand that. Theater classes, we have drama classes senior year, and there is a very city-renowned spring musical. We also have a fall play. Our productions rival, if you had offers from LaGuardia and you're like, oh, our productions definitely rival LaGuardia's in a place that's known for engineering. Do you get a choice between AP World and AP European History? Yes, you do. Zero tolerance for bullying. Yeah, I mean, on the surface, I would say, yeah, there's zero tolerance for bullying. I tend to, how can I explain this as my style of leadership in this regard? I tend to come down a little bit heavy, to be honest, on bullying, things that any type of intolerance, racism, of course. These are things that are in a variety of ways inexcusable to me. And so you might find that I'm a bit heavy-handed. It's just who I am. Those things bother me unbelievably. So yeah, I would say there's a zero tolerance and then some, right? We do offer restorative justice pieces and in mediation and students sitting down with each other. But there is also, I have to be honest, a punitive aspect to that. And so I think I don't have much tolerance for that sort of behavior. It's not the type of person that we are trying to raise here or help you raise here at Brooklyn Tech. And I'm not so tolerant towards it, to be honest. I take that stuff pretty seriously. Does Brooklyn Tech have teacher shortages? No, everybody wants a teacher. And so I don't have any types of issues with teachers. Are all the teachers as dedicated and hardworking as you are? That's a funny question. Sure. So, I don't know. I don't, just because I'm here yeah, I guess it's 10:15 now. Hopefully my kids are asleep already. Yeah, I think you find that it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love for me, and it's a labor of love for the teachers that love to be in our school. For the most part, I think that's what you'll find. And I think you'll find teachers and administrators that go above and beyond for the love of the work that they're doing, to be honest. And so, yeah. Where are the tennis courts? So we have some tennis courts across the street at the park. So Fort Greene Park has some tennis courts right across the street. Only seniors, yes, can do drama classes. Only seniors can do drama. So like every freshmen, sophomores, juniors take comparable taught by different teachers. English classes, but in senior year, we have English, what we call selectives. So you might take, I don't know, I'm trying to think of some now. I can't even think of the selectives anymore. It must be getting late at night. Like a heroic literature class or a science fiction class or, a Shakespeare class where there's different, and drama is one of them. So you take an English senior selective, drama being one of them. So yes, only seniors can take drama. It's not an elective, it's a selective. Okay. All right. All right. No, Brooklyn Tech does not offer IB classes. So we offer, as you probably know already, ample AP classes, but we do not offer any IB classes. And is there a drama club? Absolutely. And like I said, fall play. There's so many kids involved in the fall play. You're going to love the production when you see it. Somebody says, it's 3 hours. How many questions you have left? Guess what? I just got to the last one. And so that was the last comment. If anybody has any questions, put them up right now. Anybody have any final questions? Final questions. I'm going to give it 15 seconds for somebody to type a question if anyone has them. But I got through, I think, all of the questions that have been asked thus far. If for some reason I missed your question, please retype it right now and I'll get to your question. And I hope this has helped to bridge the gap, this little talk between middle school and high school. And our particular high school, I know it's a lot and it seems like a lot, but it's going to be old hat for your kids very, very soon. I got some questions. DOE conferences shows parent-teacher conferences September 29th. No, we've moved them. So there's something called an SBO vote, to make a long story, and we can agree to move them. And so they have been moved. I'll tell you all about that. Okay. There's some questions about religious-based questions. If students have to leave early from school based on religious reasons, you just have to let us know. That's fully acceptable, and you're good. Yeah. I will say also there is that there are places in the building to pray if you need to pray during the day, and we even accommodate if there's certain times that you need to pray. That we can accommodate your schedule to move your class around to free that up. All right, if students can be bilingual, can they be? You have to talk. So to qualify for a higher level, you need to just reach out. There's testing in. You just need to reach out to Assistant Principal Christina Santiago Campbell. You can find on the website the head of world languages. Can you use a credit card to purchase gym uniform or lock? I think so. Yeah, you're good with credit cards. Yeah. Is it easy to get teacher recommendations? That's a good question. It's easier if you have better grades. And so, but as you can imagine, disproportionately, junior teachers are inundated with asks for recommendations. Teachers will love to write them and help you out. You'll find out a lot more about this, but pick the classes that you're good at, that you got good grades, that you have a good rapport with the teacher, and so they could write you a really great recommendation. But yeah, I think it's easy based on who you are in your relationship and the work that you've done in the class. Where they get IDs, you're going to get IDs that do not have pictures on them the first day likely, and then we'll get you ones with pictures a little bit down the road, maybe a month in. Are freshmen screened and placed in classes based on their 8th grade grades, final scores? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not in that regard at all. When will non-custodial parent receive account creation codes to add their child to the New York City school account? The DOE sites alludes to the possibility of the custodian parent setting up the account. Non-custodial parent, reach out to us, and I would say reach out to, I'm trying to think of who would be the best to do this. Reach out to Miss Hune, Mary Hune, our parent coordinator, I still think is here still. Reach out to her and she'll help square this away for you, non-custodial parent. Absolutely. Well, the first 2 days be full days. So I said the first day, not exactly, you start a little bit later, depending on it's gonna be a full day. Yes, it's gonna be a full day, 1 through 10, but the class will be truncated a bit, maybe half an hour classes to accommodate prefect and whatnot. I have to just square away the schedule, how it's gonna lay out tomorrow. The second day is gonna be absolute bell schedule, business as usual. How much is the Long Island Railroad student discount? I don't know. That's a great question. I should know the answer to. We have an AP in charge of transportation, but go to, once again, W2, and they'll let you know everything. I don't want to answer that question off the top of my head. I don't know how much the discount is for the LIR. Building close a specific time. Yes and no. I mean, clubs usually end 5:30, and they're out. Some teams might stay later, but that's really what we're talking about, 5:30. No, Mary, I'm still not going to publish the dress code because then it's going to take me to I'm going to lose everything, and I'm going to miss the questions that they're typing right now. So you can go to the website if you want to see the dress code. It is there. Can students ride bikes to school? Yes. And there are places not inside, but outside the building to lock it up. I actually had last year a whole bunch of bike racks added right alongside of Fort Greene Park across the street from the school. And so there are ample places sort of in front of the school towards the Fulton sort of avenue sort of entrance down Fort Greene Place, but also across the street. There's tons of them right across the street from the school. You can lock up your bikes, but you can't, we don't babysit them. We don't secure them. It's a good idea to have a good lock, but there's plenty of kids that ride bikes to school. If you need to leave early school, you need to have a parent needs to pick you up, right? We do not let students just walk out of the building if they have a dentist appointment or this or that early. They must be picked up. All right. When are students getting their schedule? First day of school. How can students create clubs? There's a process. You need to talk to Miss Massey. Miss Massey, our lead COSA. So somebody's asking about Muslim prayer. Our students I have them fill out a survey. Students, 8th period of the day, we give students 8th period off to pray. So we'll rearrange their schedule so they could, or we usually do it beforehand, and they have 8th period to pray. But it is not common for our students to leave school early each week to pray at a mosque. And so they usually pray in school. If a child's not on a swim team and not taking swim gym, is the opportunity to use the pool? No. If you get above an 85 on the algebrains, but you didn't take the class, you get into geometry, very likely. You need to talk to the AP of mathematics, Mr. Dan Amato. Can you swim after school? No. What are the drama shows this year? Somebody just told me the musical. I never heard of it, so I would tell you that, but I don't know what play they picked yet. Somebody talked about how they graduate tech 31 years ago, and they're very excited for their son to attend tech. That's great. That's great. And so at some point, you're anonymous here, but at some point, it would be great to meet and talk about your experiences and how things are the same and how things are different. How are students placed in class and what they're based on? Usually grades, but I will tell you that that is not the biggest factor in most courses, especially AP courses. The idea is to try to let in as many kids as possible, to be honest with you. Keep asking about the LI student discount. I don't know how much it is. Sorry. Somebody's, yeah, I don't know. Okay. Apple Watches are fine, but we don't want to hear it ringing in class. How do you get your parent email added to the mailing list for school communication? Email Miss Mary Hoon. She is, what are you? She is, her email is mhun@schools.nyc.gov. Are the events like a Halloween dance? Yeah, we got stuff like that. We have a masquerade ball. I think that usually takes place on a boat. And so we do pretty cool things at Tech. But yeah, that's usually on a boat. Can students bring skateboards to school? If so, where we could put it? All right, here's the thing with skateboards. There are some students that bring in skateboards, but I cannot say this enough. You are not to ride a skateboard in our school. You are not to ride a skateboard in our school. So there is no one who rides a skateboard inside the school. You have a skateboard, you use outside school, you walk around with it, you put it in your locker, right? But you are not riding it in the school. I cannot overemphasize that. The hallways are beyond slippery. You cannot ride them in school. Okay. Oh, somebody, maybe a misclarification. Somebody's saying, what happens if I don't pray during the pray period? The 8th period is a sign up. It's for Muslim students. You're not Muslim. You don't sign up. You're not praying. So it's not like 8th period is a pray period for the entire school. No, it's that we have Muslim students that pray during that time, and we give them provisions to have that period off so that we move around their schedule so they could do so together and pray. Yep. How long have I been the principal? I started with that. I was a teacher at Brooklyn Tech for about 10 years, and AP of Health and Safety for 2 years, AP of the Social Studies Department where I was a teacher for 7, and then now I'm going on my 6th year as principal. All right. Okay. Lockers don't get assigned. You ask the teachers if you can use a locker in their back of the room, and you just use it. That's how it is, right? So we don't assign the lockers. When will parents receive login information to access their kids' grades? From what I understand, this new system, you're not going to be able to see your grades until a month or so in. So the system's sort of rolling out sort of slowly. So it'll have full functionality on our end. But I think on viewability, they're looking at, unfortunately, October. Yeah. Okay. Somebody's asking me, what specialized high school did I attend? Now, that's an interesting notion. I think it was just based on like where I live. So there was no like super like, preference in that regard. But I did grow up in northern Queens and found myself taking a bus across to go to school in the Bronx. So yeah. All right. I have now finished all the new questions. All right. There anything else? Cool. All right. It's almost 10:30. Everybody, I hope you get a great night's sleep. And thanks for coming, spending some time with me. I appreciate it. I wish I could see all your faces. Please come to the PA meeting, and especially the first one, and I'll get to meet all of you. So that would be great. So anyway, until the next time, be well. See you soon. Good night.